Unmute, please.
Pardon?
Thank you.
It was muted, sorry.
She just said unmute.
Oh,
Okay.
I got a few things probably under unfinished or maybe new business there, a couple things to add. Anybody else? If not, somebody make a motion to approve the agenda. Someone second?
Second that.
All in favor? I oppose, motion carried. Approval of the minutes from last meeting on April 11th, additions, corrections. Third page, down about right in the middle, it said filter pumps at the lagoon. I think that should probably say lift pumps. Jake, is that right?
Yeah.
Lift pumps at the lagoon. Because the filter pumps are across the street, we don't want to get our water mixed up. And that's basically. Anybody else? Additions, corrections? If not, somebody make a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Someone second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We didn't get into the bills, so, any question on bills? I see Chris Kennedy, we got a whole list of your bills here, but we do not have. I can't find how this $3,180 adds up to all these here. We got through March is what I take it. March's bill was $792. February's bill was $2,088. Then we have another one for $1,116, but we have no copy of this bill for.
The current bill should be on the top right there, or in the folder that's right in front of Sarah.
$288, that was billed out back in December. And I got $1,116 that was billed for January, month of January maybe, or. And 2,088, and I got a 792. I'll have it's on April.
Sarah's looking right now.
I'm looking right now. I just went through them, so.
Anybody else with questions on bills? I got one under Quill here. It says $1,767.96 for pre-stamped, pre-printed window envelopes of 1,000 sales books and invoices.
Yep, so they have the stamp to mail them.
Yep.
They have the city's return
Is there
address on them.
postage on there?
Yep,
Oh, okay.
that's what pre-stamped means. So it means they already have the stamp to mail them out. And there's 1,000 of them.
So what does it cost if you just take and get a window envelope, put a stamp on ourselves? Does it cost a lot more?
I don't know. I can look into it. I think they're like 78 cents. I can look into it and find out.
When the postage goes up, these have a forever stamp on them, so if postage goes up 2 cents, we pay 2 cents less. That's all. And she uses probably 1,000 a year. We can open the door.
All right. Anybody else with questions on bills?
So
If
did you
not,
find
we'll make a
the
motion to approve these.
Government office. Under 570. It must be an annual thing.
It's our website, our hosting for our city website.
This is April, going, I think.
That's what it says.
Yeah, I don't have this at all. $39 entries or contacts with the lawyer in the month of April. That must be a record.
Get under constantly, but I need contacts with a lot of Steve candidates. Yeah, I think I talked to you about on Crystal Deal.
I mean, you go back to this December, we had three contacts.
Yeah.
And in January, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 contacts. I mean, holy cow. that really went up. So we'll probably be discussing that later in the meeting. Anything else on, did you find out what government office was?
Yeah, it was
It's the hosting for our,
Hosting fee for the
That's
website.
what
Oh, okay.
yeah, I saw it.
Anybody else with questions? If not, make a motion to approve the bills. Come on, second.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion carried. Okay, down to fire department. Got 3 calls, month of April. Anybody got any more to add to that?
Phil's here.
Phil's here.
Oh, hey, Phil's here. Nice to see you. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah, I gave Ashley, the calls. We got a blood drive coming up again on the 28th of June. We had a training burn a couple nights ago. It was very well attended. We had Nathan, Vernon, Amboy, and a guy from Lake Crystal that attended. It went well. Had 5 instructors there, so we had 100% participation from our department. So it's a really good turnout from our department. Yeah, we did back, last month. Yeah, I wasn't there very much. We did have pancake feed, 450, 475 people attended. Nice turnout, good support shown from the community and surrounding areas. So I didn't get to participate as much as I wanted to there. I had a couple of confirmations. I did last month also turn in a request for flooring and some plumbing stuff that had been in the process since, well, back when Brian even was city manager. And I had forgotten to email the proposed items to Ashley last month. So I gave them to her the other day and I hope she got those to you, so you can look at those for flooring and plumbing expenses that we're looking at. Other than that, I don't really have anything. I've been here for a while, so if anybody's got questions for me, shoot them out. There has been a couple of burning complaints in town. People are burning things that they should be burning. And Ashley was going to send them a letter, I believe.
I want to check on the burning ordinance about these campfires. They're
Um,
supposed to be 25 feet from the structure.
I think it's 15 if it's a in a containment.
3 by 3 residential.
3 foot in diameter, 2 foot height, but otherwise I think I think it's 15 feet. If I had the ordinance from me, I'm sure, but I think if it's an open burning pit or something like that, it's 25.
Mhm.
But otherwise, if it's contained, I believe it's 50.
How about your staffing for as far as firemen? Are you staying steady, gaining,
Well, we're still at 18. So,
still looking for more?
we can have more.
Because you're usually 21, 22 usually over the
We
years.
can have 20, 28.
Oh, wow.
We can have 28. So
You find it harder to find people?
it's like every small town, with not many businesses in town. Daytime help is the big one.
Yep.
We're fortunate enough to have a few farmers in the area that are still on, and Pastor
And Jake?
and Jake, the city guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's around a lot. But no, we're always looking if somebody's interested and they want to dedicate some time, and we're always looking.
All right. Okay, thanks, Phil. Sheriff's report, anything? We have 55 hours of patrol in the month of April. Theft, harassment, animal complaints, and driving complaints. Any more to add to that? I think I had an individual or two stop. There's a few people that are always parking on the wrong side of the road. Might want to pass that on. I think Ron mentioned that too. You seen it? I mean, they park there overnight, they park over the weekend, always on the wrong side of the road. Are we gonna allow that to keep happening, or are you gonna get it fixed? I mean, do we want everybody parking on the wrong side of the road because it's handier to get to the front door, or should they be parking on the right side of the road?
Are you looking at me like I parked on the wrong
No,
side?
no.
Okay, I'm like,
no.
I did not park on the right side. I mean, I'm sure they have other things to worry about, but yeah, if they're, especially if it's on the, one-sided because of the width of the road, we don't want them parked.
Yeah, well, no, it isn't that, it's just that they don't park on the right side of the street, so,
Yeah.
or turn around and then park.
Yeah,
I guess if you could mention it and they drive around and see it, they could maybe address that to them individuals, because otherwise we'll have the whole town looking back. Anybody else as far as sheriff? Okay, Jake. Yeah, 55 hours worth, and they're contracted for what a month?
40.
40.
40, so we always get our money's worth. We're here at all different times of the day and night, so pretty much a good deal. Maintenance, city maintenance. Jake.
So I'm gonna go back to April's meeting. We kind of left off with the resident that had the sewer back up in her basement from 2019. It was March 2019. So upon some further investigation with that, I had Jetter Clean come out, jet the line all the way up behind the bar, just regular preventative maintenance, getting all the grease out of that line. And we tried to camera it that way, and they have a push camera, so we weren't able to do it. So I had to get a fire pipe to come down and actually use a drivable camera. So they drove up the pipe, and you can see that nothing in the main line, our main line, was replaced, but you can see the service has been replaced. There's no way they could drive up into the service. You'd have to go from in the house, but you can see that the service was replaced, and there's a patch in the street. So with that, I have the video coming of buyers uploading it onto a thumb drive and mailing it down here to us. So when we left off, there was a total bill there of $1,532 between Jetter Clean, Caduce Plumbing, putting a sump pump in for the individual, and then her first quarter utilities for $176.41. How do we want to approach this now that we know that it wasn't our actual main line that was broken? It was just the service pipe must have been collapsed. Do we want to do any reimbursement there, or are we just leaving it where it's at?
Bring me up to date. What was the deal when the water they got in the basement from the alley? Is that
They're backed up, right, into the,
they back up or come in the basement?
the claim that it's back up to the sewer. Right? I think it was what originally was.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that was a claim. I don't know why, like, the homeowner's insurance would cover that. I guess it seems like there's enough damage that was there, but that's. I'm not an insurance adjuster, so I'm really trying my best with that, you know. I wasn't here at the time, so.
That patch in the alleyway, what does that represent? Somebody dug down there?
Yeah, when they would have fixed that service or sewer service going into the main line, they would have dug down, because it's all new PVC. You can see on the video.
From the main to her line, or to
From
the basement?
just like where the service dumps in, so you'd have a Y on there, and then everything above that Y is new PVC pipe, glued and primed. You can see that at least, because their camera can rotate up and look at it, but you can't drive into their service. You have to service it from inside the house, or camera it, excuse me, from inside the house to actually see how much was replaced there. I talked to Kyle Boning about it, but the guy does so much that he doesn't. You know, it was 2019.
So you think the service was done around the time after the damage happened back then?
Yeah, I think that was collapsed. And you can kind of see that in one of Jetter Clean's videos, that it's full of clay.
What's going for?
Her service line.
Service. I don't know.
Nope, before they fixed it.
Oh, the Jetter Clean.
Yep, yep. They came out during that whole ordeal where it was backing up into their basement, so.
How does that work when that house is so close? You know, that house is so close to that alley. Are we responsible from the main to the edge of the blacktop? Where, to the line? Where is that? Where's that at?
What is our portion there? What is the alley width? Does it go up to the house?
Not quite, probably 4 feet. It's a 20-foot alley.
Where does the service or the main, like, where does the main go down the
On the southern third, right?
Yeah, it's on the south half of the alley,
alley? So it's pretty close.
pretty close.
The main was our deal, and the service from Maine was their deal. Same thing with our water. From the shut off is ours, main shut off from home is theirs.
From the main in, yeah. That's what I thought.
And that's where the damage was replaced, so
Yeah.
it's really their damage.
But don't we have some ownership from the main to the edge of the road, wherever the property line is?
No.
Because on other ones, we have behind the curb.
I don't think that's where the problem was though.
Not sewer. Sewer runs out to the main, right?
Yeah, basically, with the way the statute reads and what the code reads, is that you own the main line, they're responsible for anything that connects to the main line. The ownership of the real estate or land, above it, or we want, isn't.
Well, we repaired the one over here, my neighbor to the south there last winter. That was plugged from behind the curb to the sewer. We fixed that.
Jake, when did they bring this to the city's attention? You talked about it happening in 2019.
They claim 2019,
But when did they bring it to your attention?
last month's meeting, April or March.
March, I think.
So between 2019, we bring it to the attention of the city, and now they took no action with the city.
It sounded, it depends on who you talk to. If you talk to the homeowner, they have an answer. If you talk to, the city, we have an answer.
Do you have records of them making any contact with the city?
It'd be to the clerk, I was told. wouldn't it?
I guess I personally
It was
don't,
the previous.
To Brian.
yeah.
I remember talking to
I think in 2020, maybe, council discussed it, and Brian was to investigate, and it never went any further than that.
So does that make any liability fall on us when it fails to be followed through with an employee?
It doesn't necessarily give you any liability. The question you have to answer is whether or not you dealt with other property owners in a different manner and you try to be consistent. And if you help this particular property owner, what is the public purpose?
Well, I think there was a bill one time for the sump pump that was outrageous, $790, wasn't there, something like that?
$891.
Okay. And then the water and sewers, so I mean, is it all theirs? Somebody, we want to pick up half of some of that fixed, or is it all theirs? Somebody make a decision.
it was on the main.
No, it was not on the main. There's no new pipe in there in our sanitary main.
Was the main very dirty going to the east or west? It was very dirty, so maybe it hasn't been taken care of either. They could have some back up.
It could have, yeah,
Does that go east?
yep. So if anybody, it should be the first backup, in my mind.
Does that come all the way to the restaurant? I thought Ron's that turns south in the alley.
This is the intersection near the alley, where maybe not get that, car wash.
Yeah, that goes
Then it
all
goes
south.
south.
right?
Go south. So I just wondered if we jet from the restaurant, because that doesn't go past bars, correct?
Yep. Yeah, so there's a line that goes south. There's a manhole in that alley intersection there, to the east of Kellingee's. And then that goes across Sherman and then down the other alley on the south side of Sherman, and then it goes into a manhole and dead ends. It take your house on that line, and then Ron's daughter's house, and then the two other houses down there. It would take those services as well. And then the properties on this side as well, because there's no sanitary.
But this house goes actually to the,
Yeah, this is to the east of that manhole.
right, that does it drain into the do or into the Brooklyn or the road?
It
Goes-
flows east, and then it 90s through another manhole, and then it flows north.
Yeah. So it doesn't go into the new sewer, it goes that way instead of going when it goes south.
So probably it's been overlooked as far as being jetted over the years.
Yeah, there's quite a bit of grease buildup in there.
It had been jetted every year or twice a year when Brian was here, because they had a lot of grease all the time. We talked about that.
Yeah, but that one's the one that goes
So that
south.
one goes south.
So, I mean, that one there, was it overlooked that we weren't taking care of it?
I mean, it could have been, or, maybe there's just extra grease going down the drains that, that I really can't confidently, yeah.
Jacob, when the city cleans the main line and jetters, do we do anything with the ancillary lines, or we just pushing the stuff down?
Yeah, we just pull it along into our new main line, which is on the end of North Hauk. And then from there, there's so much grade and flow that I don't believe that grease will latch back on the plastic pipe. And I guess what we're jetting also is clay from 1900s. So it's considerably older than the new plastic. Like you said, with the grade and the amount of flow that's going down, the line that we're initially washing our hands, leaving that is the main line going out of town to the lift station. So the only place we see it after that is down at the lift station. There's a significant amount of grease down there. Which just kind of address it when need be.
So in the old Jetta Clean videos, I think that's what started this. They originally said it was the main collapse. That's what started all this.
That's what we heard.
Yeah. And so you haven't seen those?
I have seen those, but the videos that really bring light to all of it is what Empire just did.
Nor I get that, but did it get out to the main?
No. Nope, couldn't.
Yeah, they claimed that it was the main collapse.
Yeah.
Or whatever, flood or whatever.
Yeah.
They couldn't get through the service line at that point.
No, from what I could tell of that video, they were still in service.
And so since then, lately, it's been dug up. And
Yes.
repaired and now it works.
Yeah, because just the way that video looked, you wouldn't be able to push just liquid through there hardly. And I think that's why the basement was backing up, because none of the floor drains were taking any of the water.
Well, it doesn't sound like from the video that it's our issue. It sounds like it's the homeowner's issue somehow. And know that there was a talk of maybe that still had run into their basement, but we really didn't know where the water was coming from. It was the house.
So the total bill was what?
$1,532.
I agree. I don't think it's our, I don't think it's a city.
That's the way it sells.
I mean, I think.
When you wouldn't buy a sump pump and fit anyway, frankly.
Right.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Is there a sump pump in that basement?
Yeah, she put one in.
Now there is. Now it drains on top of the ground out there by the alley or?
It doesn't sound like.
No, it doesn't sound like
I think we did all the investigation that we could do, you know, to really try to run it down.
I guess it's just sad that it took 2 years. You know, if this happened back in 20. But I guess if we have video that justifies it's not ours, it's not ours. So you want to pass that along?
I could do that. Yep.
We looked at it.
I mean, do you want Jake to pass it on, or should we have a letter from this clerk just explaining the situation that we investigated it? You know, it's our decision that, as a council, not Jake's decision.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
Right now, the council hasn't made any decision. You're not required to make a decision. You have to make a decision if you want to make a payment for it. But if you want the clerk to say that the council made a decision, you need a resolution. Does anything like that decision isn't required.
You need a resolution to,
Well, the resolution is really the only way to give, you know, the council's full understanding what happens. And you know, what you're saying is happening. Yeah, I'm saying you do not need a resolution at all. If you don't want to, if you don't want to pay this, you don't have to authorize them. But if you're asking for a letter saying this is what the council's position is, there needs to be a resolution stating what that position is, because we need to vote.
And I would like to do that, in my opinion, because then it's not right. So that it doesn't come up another 2 years from now, and everybody goes, well, I think
this way it gets on paper.
yeah, but yeah, this one here is gonna be in the next. We can look back at it, and then like, we always run into the precedence thing and all that. You know, we can go back to an official, not just, no, I think we did this.
I agree.
And you can reference the new video footage. It's
Yeah,
in light of.
yeah, and we're getting all the video, all the video. Well, I think that
All right, Tom made the motion, coming to second.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion carried. All right, now it's on the record. Yep. Okay, Jake,
Next thing, Aaron with Tyne Well came out and did our yearly inspection on both wells. Everything looks good over there as far as the wells go. He did recommend that we're due for our 5-year inspection on well 1. And he said that would be next year. Just later this year, we'll touch base on that and set up a time, that it could be pulled, and they want to pull it so they can inspect the well pump itself, because they can only do so much from on top of the ground.
Refresh my memory, one is the big one.
The little one. Yep. So kind of a pain to get that in comparison to the new bigger one, but should be done, just so we know it's in good working order. Next thing is electric pump came a couple weeks ago now and put that retrofit in down at the lift station. They did a great job, did it in a very timely fashion. I went to A to Z Rental and rented a trash pump to use it as a bypass. They were actually able to do it without the bypass running. So it definitely saved us some money there. I mean, we still had the pump for just in case, but they didn't end up using it. So, but like I said, they did a great job and everything looks good down there. It's working good. We did have them pull a transfer pump down there to transfer from the primary pond to the secondary pond. As of right now, we only have 1 transfer pump down there, and we should have 2 up and going and running. They took it back to their shop. They sent me an email and said that the pump itself is bad, and they do not make parts for it anymore because it is so old. They quoted us for $8,200 for a new pump. I'm assuming you guys would like me to look around and check other places for pumps.
have to get 2 bids on it.
Yeah,
It's a good practice, get some bids, it's low enough that you probably would not have to.
He doesn't have to transfer, does he?
he has to transfer right now. We're doing it right now.
With.
Just with 1. There should be 2 in that transfer.
You have.
Yep,
Oh.
one of the 2 is still in working order. The other one is not.
Oh, then we should get another quote.
Okay.
Plenty of time to.
Yeah.
Where do you go for another one, you think?
I was thinking that Quality Flow. The New Craig as well. And then I could talk to Brian and maybe he knows of some other companies that might do us a quote. I guess the next thing is if you guys had time to look at those tree estimates and stump grinding. I did get one more estimate this afternoon from Pepper for $3,200 to do the tree removal and then the stumps down there on Front Street.
Jake, question on stumps, are those county stumps, see how the county gets trees down?
Yeah, but they said it's on us to take care of them, I guess, or to look for a company to remove. But they're still with the same with your cost sharing over $1,000. So that was my understanding of it. Was basically we'll take the trees down. You guys figure it out with the stumps, and then we're willing to cost share after 1,000.
Cars seems like the most reasonable bid there.
Yeah, they do good work. We had them last year on self-help, and I thought they did a good job. They didn't seem too worried about that one, and we can all see what that tree looks like. So I thought that was a good bid as well.
We should get her done.
Cool. So who's that breakdown? The county's paying X, we're paying X, no water paying X on that particular tree?
I think it's us and.
Us and the
Because
company.
it's in the boulevard.
Cost share over 1,000.
Cause I thought we always said if the tree was alive, it's theirs, it's dead, it's ours.
That's kind of almost
That's always
jokingly
the- I
though.
mean, it's always a on the boulevard. So it's technically ours, right? It's in our right of way. For all
It's
this
taking the sidewalk and the curb.
That's the 30 years, yeah.
So do we need a motion then to?
And Cars is leaving that stump in place too, so. They're grinding those ones down there, but they're leaving this one in place.
I'm sure they'll grind this one.
I'm saying that's what their quote says, just so we know that, and maybe they're concerned about close to the sidewalk, close to the curb, and they're not gonna do this.
Yeah, I think he kind of looked at it as, well, what do you want me to do here? You know, do you want me to remove the sidewalk and this curb as well? I just said, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
It's really.
You made a point. It's been like that for 30 years. I've been jumping it on my bike since I was 8. I'm 26. I mean,
So it says here to grind 4 stumps, but, no cleanup. So I mean, so they're just gonna grind them, you gotta clean it up then.
yeah,
Can you haul that directly out to the compost thing?
yeah.
Sit down?
Yeah.
Alright. Somebody wanna make a motion then to hire cars, tree service to get this job done? Someone second?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, motion carried.
Can you have them send over their insurance, please, before we get this started? So that when it comes time to pay, we can just do it and be done with it? Or would you like me to reach out to them?
It doesn't matter.
For some asking for WMA.
Mhm.
Talking about insurances, the firemen have some carpet laid in, fire department. Do they have to have insurance, certificate of insurance for that also?
You mean by the installer?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, no.
Pardon?
Generally speaking, no, you might look at a bond for a contractor, but you look at necessary insurance for some of the which not.
Okay.
I guess if you want to be particularly safe, I'm sure that they have workers' compensation insurance for their employees. Like when you're not looking at something where they have liability that the city would be obligated on if somebody got injured in the process.
I mean, this is kind of new. I mean, how many you got in your file?
2.
Did you get it for these individuals here that they did work?
They didn't do work for the city.
Oh, yeah, they did. They worked on the water shut off.
Oh, no, I didn't. I don't even know who they are.
So we need to get this really straightened out. Who do we need to get insurance on? I mean, laying carpet to me is pretty trivial.
Generally speaking, the only people you need to get insurance from is the ones that the league is going to require that you know that they have it. So if somebody's calling, where there might be liability regarding that they do something actively for the city, whether that we can get sued on that. Workers' compensation, if you have a larger project, you want them to handle their large projects.
The guys that just fixed the lift pump down there, did we get their insurance on file?
Couldn't tell you. I'd have to look.
So I mean, here we're getting work. We want insurance from one person, we don't want it from another. We need to have a rule set up. We're either gonna have 100% or how are we gonna do it?
Well, I think it's going to be project by project. That's the way it's got. It doesn't read 100% one way or the other. I mean, there's certain things you're going to be asking for insurance because it makes sense to protect the city. The other thing, like they're laying the carpet where you don't necessarily have to make that, it's part of the contract. But honestly, regarding the tree service, I don't think you need insurance on that.
Do we have one on file from Boning Brothers?
I don't know. I could go look.
We have like 3 water main breaks this winter. Somebody like that does work all the time. And that brings up another question. When we have a broken water main, do we have to get 2 bids on it to get repaired?
If it's a broken alarm and you're getting it done immediately, then there's emergency action, you take emergency action.
Okay, so we don't have to have 2 bids.
No.
That's why I have to have two bids on it then.
Okay. But should we have insurance on file for that individual that does work in town?
It depends on what they're doing. You probably want to make sure that they have workers' compensation to protect the city if somebody gets injured, that you're not being sued for negligence. You're just looking to protect the city. If they don't have something in place, if somebody would be looking to the city for contribution for any injuries.
Well, like, I think I seen that bid as Rick Way that had some bids for the fire department. A lot of them, they outsource, they have an individual do that, they come in, they measure it. I hire an outsourced person to do the labor.
Right. If you wanted to be cautious, you'd ask them for workers' compensation insurance.
But there's gonna be 1099 people there. They
But
won't
if
have
you
one.
1099 on that, I don't think insurance is necessary.
All of our subcontractors provide us with W9, their liability insurance, and their workers' comp.
The questions I've been asked about insurance have been all, we're looking at somebody who is physically transporting one way or another for the city, and it's important in those cases to make sure that their liability insurance covers the city gets. You can take a look at you know, if the fire department was going out of contract and something, they would want to look at that. If you're, you know, city hall, sometimes if we're using that for different purposes, you know, some cities will require that there be some kind of insurance or liability waiver that's going to be signed. It's just not how much you want to have to tackle those type of things, but, and, you know, you don't have to ask for the insurance on everybody who comes into the city. And even if you were, you're asking for different type of insurances for different type of projects. But for contractors and, you know, when we're talking construction, I think, you know, generally speaking, they're fine as long as we make sure that they're running.
Okay. More Jake?
I guess the last thing is if we could possibly hold a special meeting for all the work that we're kind of planning on the streets. I think I got you guys a couple of bids for crack sealing. That's step one. Patching has been tough. Get a hold of the guys and get them out here. It seemed like Friday was the day that they all wanted to come at once, so they pretty much did. But there's one more, Nielsen wants to come out, take a look at it. I think that's good, because that just gives us one more option to look at. But everything, what I will say is everything is up this year. I did get that quote back from Pearson, who has been doing our chip sealing for what I'm told 20+ years. The last time we did it was 17. It was $1.41 a square yard. This year it's $1.76.
Square yard.
A square yard is how I read it on the quote. So I guess we should probably expect that with the patching and with the rest of them. But like I said, I don't have all the quotes now. If we could possibly.
I agree, we should get on it, otherwise we're gonna not get it done, you know.
Would we do it this year though, being that oil is so high? You know, it could fall apart by next summer. I don't think our roads are in that bad a shape that we would have to. I mean, we need to do some patching, but as far as seal coating, you know, man, maybe, because what was that total all over bid, $82,000-$3,000? I think it used to be about 65 for doing everything. What are your thoughts about next year? Do you think oil will be back down by next year? You know, I mean,
Nice to know.
Hard to speculate.
we are not in a situation where we have to do the streets. They're not that bad. You know, if we did some crack sealing and if we do some patching where this work was all done and we have that guy come in and seal around the outside edges of them, you know, so the water don't get down in between the two. Maybe next year it'll be $1.85, who knows? But I mean, we don't, right now, we don't really have to, I don't think at this time. And again, what money do we have in future improvements for crack sealing? Was it 25,000 because we figured every 3 years and we'd have enough to do it, I believe, wasn't it, 2025?
We don't have a line item for crack sealing anymore, and that's a discussion we've had multiple times, but we
Seal coating.
don't have a line item for that either.
Well, we always used to budget $25,000 a year because we figured that every 3 years we'd have enough to pay for it. That's the third year.
I think we threw it at future improvements line.
Should we have that line item, Chris?
It's up to you. You know, you can have-
It doesn't matter if we throw it in future improvements or if we have a line item where we know each year we should put X amount of dollars in that account.
It's an accounting question, not a legal question. You know, you can decide how you want to put those funds and dedicate the funds. If you're asking me from a legal perspective, I'd probably try to keep the future improvements rather than having it as a line item. So it's not questioning how you're using that, but you all know that your budgets, you put things in the budget, it gets modified every year or times of time.
That should be back in the line item, I think. shouldn't
You
it?
have 75,000 in future improvements.
Yes, we do. That's budgeted, there you go.
So that could be used for the crack sealing and the sealing of the streets, right?
I suppose you're just saying if we earmark it for specifically seal coating, whatever, then you can't.
Does it say year to date what we put in there each year? Can't read it from here.
No, so there's 75,000 budgeted for this year.
So did we put anything in there last year?
Well, I think we did, but
I think we did what you said, Robert, is 25,000 a year.
I think we used it.
That sounds right.
Well, that's what we used to do.
Yeah.
So we always had enough because we went for many years. There wasn't a street sealed in this town. So then we started that a long time ago. So I think myself, it should be a line item, so you don't miss it each year and line for that.
It should be something that's addressed each year. If you want to remind them, it's fine. To
Okay.
address your question, you guys make adjustments to your budget all the way throughout the year.
Yep.
It would be no different if it's line
It's
item or
okay
not
then?
line item. It's just a matter of how to figure out what you want and how for the total cost.
It'll be
You find
budget time
anything,
before we
Tom?
know it, so.
No, I mean, according to this, we budgeted $75,000 and used it all up last year. So we have $75,000 this
So tax seal, we have to,
year. That's what the 2022 budget is for future improvements, right? Ashley?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yep. Yep.
That's what we budgeted
Correct.
for that.
No,
If you had a guess, what do you think the patching?
I was kind of thrown back on the chip sealing, so if I get in, I'm ready to be off.
Because we do have a number of areas that we need to patch. You know, if you did the patching, the crack sealing and the seal coat, you'd be way over $100,000.
Well, the chip sealing alone, he's quoting us 88,000
88,000?
to do everything. But he said in the past that his records show that's what we've been doing. I'd rather than coming through and doing it for you.
Yeah, we skipped a few of these streets when they were new, you know. And some of that future improvements, does that have to be spent on South Holiday, maintaining that, doing something with that? So you gotta think about that too. We got a recycled road that's getting in worse shape each time it rains.
So that is something that I'm having the guys come out when they're looking at doing these patches. I'm having them give us an estimate on what it would cost to overlay that, like Ewing Court.
Yeah.
Just to get an idea. Turn it back into a goat path.
I guess if I was living on that street, I'd like to see the city invest some money on that street versus seal coating this year, you know? Because that street is in disarray.
Well, if we don't seal coat this year, we could do it.
like I say, we don't know what the patch is gonna be as far as Wall Street and Sherman and stuff, so I mean, that's gonna be.
Did you ever get a hold of the individual that put that stuff on that we have right now?
Yeah, so he sold his Works Construction. So I got a contact from a guy that is subcontracted through Works to come out and just get an idea on that. That was another option we have for South Holidays. We take a grader in there with a carbine tip blade, and grade it all up, repack it, re-oil it, and then maybe get 3 to 5 years out of it again. Guess I don't remember when you guys had that milled and oiled, had been all 2 years ago at least.
We had a good base under there now because we ground it up, laid right back down. What would happen if we got recycled blacktop from Tom Walters, put an 1.5 inch coat on it or whatever it takes and put that spray back on top of it? Should we really tear up what we got? We got a pretty firm base right now. Should we just try that? I mean, that's what's been done on some of these other streets and it stays pretty darn good. Willard Street, I think it has it. Chapel Street has it. It stayed pretty good. You know, we could burn up a lot of money just doing that. Try to get that fixed up, and I mean, those other two, Chapel and Willard, they both need like an overcoat of that also. So, you don't have a cost a square foot for that stuff here?
So
We would need to have Jake get all of those prices from a couple of people, and then, like you were suggesting, try to have a meeting here. Soon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you're thinking.
yeah, for all the rest of the bids coming in for, potentially asphalting on South Halliday and then all the patches around town.
Then we'll see that special meeting, not a workshop. The workshop, we can't make a decision, on, correct?
Yeah, like a
Right.
special meeting.
It's a special.
Like we said, you know, we can set one in a couple of weeks or whatever. From here, this meeting.
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I think we can get by. I don't know. What's everybody else thought of the seal coating?
We can get by with that. We're never enough involved, so there's no passionate crack sealing. Get that all taken care of.
Is that crack sealing the same guy that used to come here?
I think they're a new company.
Oh, really? Because that's stuff that we used to get from them and when, well, Bonings know that when it's along the curb, it's stuck so well. That it seals that up between the blacktop and the curb so well. That's a very good investment. So I'm just wondering if that is, they were in business for a long time, right?
Yeah.
They were from up north. Do you ever see that in his file? Who that might have been?
Like I said, contacts.
Mm,
It may have been that Pearson Brothers.
No, it was an individual, a guy and a gal, and a couple workers. It seemed like it was a family oriented thing.
It was a family.
Yeah.
They did my driveway too.
So, I mean, can we go back on our records to see who we wrote that out to in the previous 5 years? Probably see who checks
Yeah.
for crack sealing.
They were from up around Painesville.
Yeah, they're up there somewhere. So maybe we can get a handle on them guys, see if they're still in business. Yeah, right. Okay, any more, Lindsay? I got one question for you here. The pending lawsuit that was brought before you back in January, February, maybe? Any more on that?
No.
Has the clerk heard anything on that?
I haven't heard of any lawsuit.
You had the individual from the League of.
There was an insurance claim that wasn't a lawsuit.
Well, I mean, a claim, excuse me. Insurance claim?
Yeah, the city's,
Is it still active?
No.
It's dead?
from the city side, yes.
Okay. All right. And then as far as, last month, we talked about individuals taking wood down here. I gave you a license number. Did that go on?
Real, I did give it to the sheriff and I didn't hear anything back on it.
Wow. Is woods taken off the city property without permission? Is that theft?
Yes,
It's theft.
yes,
So if I gave the city maintenance a license plate number and I seen him throwing wood in there, how come the sheriff don't act on that?
Well, maybe he is, though.
Pardon?
Maybe he is, maybe they are. I just don't know.
Yeah, but 30 days?
that's not unusual. I mean, like a client called me, just being investigated from the sheriff's department for an incident that occurred 18 months ago. You know, and what they may take a look at is the license plate number, whether or not statutorily they have enough information that allows them to run a license plate. Because both federal law, yeah, you may have saw last year and year before, you know, a bunch of officers got themselves in trouble for randomly running individuals' license plates and claiming into the new system. You know, the state has made a ton of money on it and it's kind of damages.
So if you had a money pictures showing them they throwing it in their pickup, is that evidence?
But that's evidence. They can take a look at it. My mom had her first stolen phone at TJ Maxx. We got a picture of the person. Got a letter say from the policeman, gave us and then I did.
Okay.
No, it would be, you have a very good question. I don't know what you can do to force the sheriff's department's hand to.
I mean-
report on it.
There's 3 trees that have been down
Yeah,
on city property. The property's been posted for what, 2-3 months? And they go in there and
yeah,
they cut
and
the
if we
stuff.
go down them, you can also theoretically see the individuals for the cost of trees and trouble damages, which means triple. And so there's civil liability that you can have, whether or not it makes economic sense to do that or not, is another question. You know, it'd be nice to allow the prevailing party on that to do the attorney fees.
Well, I might have to call the sheriff myself because I have some other stuff there that could contribute a lot to that.
Yeah.
So.
That's why I was saying that they may not necessarily. Gee,
All right, you mean they'd come back to City Hall or?
they may not come back.
If they make it, yeah, if they don't make a charging decision or no charging decision, they may never get back to you. You report out my office, we requested the ICR, you can request the ICR.
So if you had evidence showing them the wood in the pickup, that's pretty good evidence, isn't
It is.
Yeah.
But both the sheriff's department and the county attorney have discretion over who they prosecute.
it? Okay. What do you got here, Jake?
That is a letter of resignation.
Wow. Not gonna take it. But, yeah.
From you?
For me, yes, it is. Yep. Had, I guess, a lot, you know, I've learned a lot with coming with the city, some good, some bad. I guess some of the bad things I would say is I feel like there's, 3 individuals in this room that kind of make my life a little bit more difficult. Just with some letters I've been getting, which they don't need to be read, but they're all addressed to me. Everything that I've looked at in these letters, I didn't even need to think for 1 minute of an excuse on what I was doing, because to me, I was doing my job. Not only that, every letter I have addressed to me is a different position, I guess. Maintenance director, city maintenance, street superintendent, well, job I applied for as a maintenance worker. That really was the straw that broke the camel's back, was the 3 letters here. It's just, I mean, there's so much other things we could be doing, you know, as a city. We'd be working together and, you know, accomplishing something more than spending money on our city attorney, which is our tax dollars going to pay that. I don't see that right. That's my opinion. I appreciate the time that you guys have given me here, but it's time for me to move on.
Anything we can do to change your mind on that? Well, I mean, as a business owner here, we've seen how hard you work and that, I think it would be hard to find somebody that does what I've seen you do. If you've got something that's an issue like that, let's address it. I personally would not like to see you leave.
I appreciate that.
That, he does one fantastic job.
If you got that, you got something that's problem coming in here, let's address it and take care of it. You have my business and my family's support. Let's try to work it out.
I appreciate that, I do. And maybe I should have brought this to attention before I just kind of, so to speak, threw in the towel like I did, but I just have, I guess, felt defeated, almost as if, you know, there's no point in coming to work in the morning because all I'm gonna do is walk into another one of these. And like I said, I just felt like I was doing my job, so I'm just kind of.
I'm assuming all of them were not signed by anybody, just sent to you as being a pain in the ass.
No, I said,
I'm sorry.
I sent them, they're all directly related to issues that need to be addressed in the city, you know, to make the taxpayers. So, and the reason there's 3 different titles that used on that is because the city code and the way you referred to is multiple different ways. I know you applied for a job as maintenance worker, there is no position in the city code that applies for that. You can street superintendent, maintenance superintendent for that, and that was kind of the idea. And going into pay equity, which we'll talk about later, we kind of need to be in that position.
I don't think you're gonna find somebody that's gonna work as hard as what I've seen you work. If there's an issue, it should be addressed and worked out. That's been for years.
In the past, it's always been my fault. I hope it ain't me, Jake.
No, it's not.
No, thank you.
So,
I mean, since when does everything that gets called in goes to that lawyer and that direction comes from the lawyer? I thought we were the bosses.
Yeah.
I would like to ask a question. I've been around here forever, 68 years old almost. City council has always taken care of everything in town. Did I miss an election that elected you city council?
I only advise.
Did I miss something?
I only
When are you
advise the
taking
council.
care of day-to-day, daily operation of
39.
moving this guy's job
Are you elected to the city council for daily operation? What the heck are we paying for there? Where's the bill? $3,900 or 30, excuse me, no,
I didn't know how many.
3180. 39 transitions through the month of April.
Who authorizes them phone calls? That's a good question. Who authorizes someone to run a call to the lawyer?
An unelected official.
Especially when there's people in this town and the business owners that are trying to save the city money. And someone takes it upon themselves to run to you, have spend our money to have you write a letter questioning what this guy thinks needs done. And somebody else has the smarts to say, hey, we can do this and save money. I mean, that is just asinine.
Can I ask you a question?
Hang on, let's keep this orderly. Everybody needs to take your turn. Grant?
Should not any letters that he has to be addressed here, should that not have gone to the city council and you first? And if there was an issue there, then gone to Jake instead of directly from him to him? I mean, usually there's due process. And if you've got a problem with another business or whatever, you go to the person that is in charge, and then you go down to the next person to address the issue. To me, you skipped a step there.
No.
And you went directly to him.
With letters are sent, and then you're asking for information, get to the council, so the council make a decision. There's no action items in anything that was addressed to them.
But couldn't that have been done in a way that it went to Mr.
No.
Anderson and then to him and then back?
No, because that was the process. The process is they need to have as much information as they can before they can make a decision. They shouldn't be making a decision regarding the investigation or something without having it.
But whose decision is it to call you about every little thing they don't think?
Either one of the council members or the city clerk, everything I address is based on contact from somebody else.
I understand that. But should we be running for every little petty thing? You want to like go get someone else?
I think that becomes a question for the council, becomes a question for the city clerk, and a question that becomes what is considered that. You know, and looking at what's happening there regarding issues or not, it's gonna be something that's gonna be taken a look at. But I can't do my job and I can't advise the council if, you know, don't have all the information that's pertaining to this.
Jake got a letter for maintaining the easement between the elevator and my property. And do we have that easement? Is that easement on file that we put that tile in last, probably August through Boning Brothers, and all the digging that went on down there and the spoils that went on top, the summer was all mud.
Right.
Now, he got a letter on that from you,
He did.
and we just simply can't maintain an easement?
You can have the question that he got from me is whether or not there was an easement. I was trying to determine exactly what the city's role there is. And from what I can tell is I don't know that the city ever passed an easement.
Well, we worked at signing an
I
easement.
mean, what city clerk's records and his, he has no idea.
The easements were signed by the property owners. The council never passed the easements.
Was it brought
You-
for us?
I'm sure it was. However, even that's the case, because of how it's laid out, from my understanding, you can't sign it to pass it. You have to abstain, and Sarah has to be the one to sign it.
So why was the letter sent to him?
Because he was the permit. Because he had the most direct information on it.
So back
So
to
it's
the
gonna step
easement
up
thing.
as a-
If there's supposed to have been an easement, who was supposed to put it on the agenda to get it voted on? Whose job was it to make sure that that easement got put through to the,
I believe the easement was put on the agenda, and I think it was voted on, something was signed.
by who?
I have to go back and take a look at the council, but my question for Jake was just simply whether or not we had an easement to the any city I represent. We would go to the streets department or go to the police department or whatever department was charged for that. You don't necessarily go to the city administrators for issues that they would have. Yeah, not for, you know, that's all that we look at.
So who do we find out if it was actually voted on? If one person says it wasn't voted on, one person says it was voted on. Where do we find that?
Should be in the minutes, right?
Maybe the answer.
Okay, that should go back to around back in June, July, September, somewhere's in there.
Yeah.
I was done before harvest, because the county got it blacktop right before harvest. So it was done then.
Right.
So,
Someone needs to look into who dropped the ball and then didn't get that finished.
The council certainly should take a look at that. and stuff. Yeah, if they ask me so.
But I mean, all this, all these letters, this never, ever has happened in the 29.5 years that I've been mayor. Well, I've never had this many in 1 month. Now, you know what this is all about, and I don't care what people think. This is resentment against this individual because he was hired at 25, Kurt was hired at 22.50. Since that day, there has been resentment in this office, in this city. And now, because other things have gotten thrown out of the courts, now it's retaliation.
Mr. Mayor, I mean, just to directly address that, your comments there illustrate a violation of statute. He can't.
Well, I
he can't
guess
hire
the way
the
I
city
got it,
clerk.
I've been in violation for hauling city gravel since 2003. I got records from 2003. I guess I'll be going to jail.
Actually, it's since the seventies, actually since 1995, I personally hauled it. And
But
the
the
clerk has
statute
also paid us since
You can
2020.
haul, but there has to be things that have to be records and it has to be approved by the council before you ever do that. You can't bill it afterwards. You know, I don't make the statute. The statute says, you know, there's plenty of small towns. where
Why
people
is
don't
there a
run for
letter in,
office.
there's a letter in here about asking to get an account set up for Johnson Brothers for P-Rock. We had our trailer fixed up by Jordan, and we thought, you know, I have 2 little grandkids and I was down to that park. We thought, you know, we're coming home empty. If we got an account set up there, we just donate that, hauling that P-Rock back to the city of Good Thunder, and it created a letter from you.
Yeah, but there's no indication anywhere that the council pre-approved that. And you've given no authority to anybody to have expenses that haven't been pre-approved.
You mean to tell me we can't put gravel on a road and maintain a gravel road?
You can do that, but the council has to do it first. You know, the only person, you can by statute give that power to the city clerk. You can't give it to a maintenance worker.
Well, then sweeping streets has to come from somebody.
You know, assuming that you're doing it with your own maintenance crew, you can do all that. You're talking about extending funds. You're talking about paying for T-Rock. You're talking about transportation costs.
So
Any
do we
costs have to be approved.
have to take and say, each year we're gonna buy 12 loads of rock for future use in the summer for maintaining gravel roads? Is that how you do that?
You can do once a year or every couple of years, ask for bids to say who wants to make loads for the city and approve what those bids are gonna be and as they come up.
They're not bids. There's no bids
But for you to do that, there has to.
for
by
me to do it.
statute, For you to do it, there has to.
Well, then you,
Somebody else.
since we're on that, you generated a letter. And she paid a bill in 2020. We hauled 8 or 10 loads out here on County Drive when they're doing the county road. She paid the bill under Anderson Trucking. Now you took it upon yourself to call up to the Secretary of State.
I did not call the Secretary of State. I looked it up online.
Okay, well, anyway, you took tax dollars here to do that.
Yeah, it was.
I have the seal here from Secretary Grohl from 1988 for Arnold Anderson Trucking Incorporated. Now, that's no different than Jake's 3 letters here. We just had Anderson Trucking versus Arnold Anderson Trucking Incorporated. My God, we've been here since 1960. It shouldn't be a problem, but it created another letter. And then for that, we paid all this money, $3,180 for the month of May, April. This has never, ever been generated this much over the years I've been here until now. And it just floors me every time a letter comes. There was a letter about Powell coming, about his restraining order. The judge threw it out. Should we have taken action before the judge did?
There was a restraining order that was in effect that you had to abide it, so he took ask the hearing because the judge issued a restraining order. You know, I have no idea what happened after that. You know, I wasn't a party to that. But,
Well,
you know, but there was an ex parte order granting the restraining order.
how come we could run the city all these years and we never got this much in 1 month? How could we do that? Now, all of a sudden, there's an influx of this stuff here. We can't do nothing anymore.
I think there's been a lot of questions as to how the city has been run over those years. And because there haven't been questions, I think there's a lot that you can, so you had at the same time. Your city code's antiquated and you don't follow it. You have a police department, you're required to have, yet you have one. You have.
Why wasn't that brought up when we hired the sheriff?
I wasn't a part of that. You were fine when you had Tri-City because that actually qualifies under your ordinance. Well, right now you don't have a, so we get the rental ordinance that we have questions on. We can't enforce that because that's what falls under chief of police.
No, but we discussed this sheriff thing for a long time, and we decided it. We didn't go through it at all.
I have no questions on that.
So no council person can benefit from anything on the city.
Correct.
Okay. So here's a thing from April 6, 2015 on the pop machines out here. The city paid, I think it was a very large sum to get power put out there for 2 pop machines. At that time in the council meeting, Councilperson Hernandez stated the Coke machine would be installed in the city maintained by the Good Thunder Days Committee. Discussion followed. Electrical outlets were put in, and the funds from this would be given to the Good Thunder Days Committee. That went away. Then we had the small town throwdown. That's no longer. Now, these funds are held by a council person in a bank account that there's no checks and balances for. Zero, none. They take the money, fill the machine, and then it's gone. Now, how would you look at that when it's supposed to?
It's
come to
actually
these
not held
committees?
by a council person, just so you know.
Pardon?
It's not held by me.
Okay, it's held by your wife and,
Ken Gee.
no, he signed off a long time ago.
He hasn't signed off the bank account. He's still on the account.
I asked him point blank, he
You
says,
can
I
ask him
didn't
about
know.
the bank, he's still on.
Well, then
Either way, we haven't stole a dime from the city's options. The money's all there, accruing interest, still being rolled in there.
should there be checks and balances on that money since the city is providing electricity for them 2 pop machines?
The Coke machines are gone now. They're Pepsi machine.
Pardon?
The Coke machines are
Okay,
gone.
we have 2 Pepsis.
The Coke machines are gone. The Pepsi machines are there. The city, yes, it's still running power to them, but the city is not loading the soda anymore. Not that, I don't know if it makes a difference. but-
We would donate all the money that's in that account to the city in case somebody wanted to have a festival, that would be there. We don't care about the money. We just have an account set up. We'll write you a check tomorrow and give it to the city. They do whatever they want with it.
Well, there's no checks and balances. At least I have a bill to prove what I've done. You get money, all cash.
We
And
get
you buy pop.
zero cash.
Pardon?
We used to get cash. We don't, Pepsi writes checks now. We don't get cash.
Well, how about the money that's in the pop machine? Where's
They
that?
collect all that.
They collect that?
Pepsi collects it and gives us 11% of gross.
Okay.
11%. 11%. They pay for all the pop, we do 11%.
So does that even pay for the electricity?
I have no idea. It's,
Oh, you get the checks.
it's $100 or $200 every quarter.
That's all?
Yeah.
Wow. That ain't hardly worth it then.
Well, take them out then. Take the machines out.
Well, I'm just saying.
They're used by everybody all day long, but they used to give us 1% and made an accounting error, and then they corrected that and gave us a check.
So they fill the machine now too?
They fill the machine.
You don't have none in the garage at all?
Every other Tuesday Brady's there and he fills it.
Right. Well, anyway, there's a lot of things, but again, I don't know what instigated
Throw that
it
money
all.
still in account. Just sitting there.
Again, I want to respond.
Who watches over that?
Inquiries that are made directly to the council information. The number that you're talking there isn't atypical for cities on occasion.
And here's a copy, you can give that to the lawyer, so he knows that I've been with the state of Minnesota and seal and everything else. I have the original copy too, if you wanna see that.
If insurance was an issue, why wasn't it an issue in 2020?
Yeah, why did that rise now? Why did that arise in the last 30 days?
There was a question that was presented to me. It would have been an issue in 2020. It had been presented to me at that time.
All these were questioned in the month of April, all this.
Anything that's there would have been in question. It was addressed and came up with it, yes.
Well, you know what?
And I wasn't able to verify. So the question comes in is, you know, what I couldn't find is the company. Quite honestly, when I looked at it, I had no idea it was your company.
Well, yeah, but you wrote a letter stating that, I shouldn't be doing it because I'm the mayor.
That came after, yes.
Yeah, so I mean,
But there's, but also give you the statute, which they have to follow.
but getting back to the main point, all this here created one of the greatest individuals we had working for the city of Good Thunder in quite a while. Now we lost him.
You lost a daytime firefighter too.
Then you lost
Boy,
a
that
daytime
would be nothing.
firefighter also,
Oh, that would
because
be
of all this, because of all this. You created a lot of hardship.
I did.
He said 3 people and that ain't me. This,
I'd like to know how I created hardship when I don't even talk to him because he's got all the direction from me too, so I don't want to add any direction. Every interaction we've ever had has been cordial, I thought.
You don't think you offended him standing down there recording him spreading that gravel, which by the way was 80% on the elevator's property, 80% at least?
I didn't.
You don't think
I
that
didn't
created hardship?
record him, just so you know.
You don't think that created hardship?
I asked a question because we have a 20-foot easement and we took care of a, I don't know, 60.
yeah, because the spoils went out on their property.
That's right, you can't pile that dirt out of a hole exactly the way it came up. I mean, it's only common sense to anybody with a brain to fix what you messed up. It was muck and mud and shit. It was nice before. So, I mean, you fix it, you don't cause an issue and make the freaking great guy quit. Simple. Just leave it alone, fix the problem. One load made that thing just great.
One load of taxpayer run. I asked a question.
That's right, and a taxpayer project. Did you get dirt down to your place for a taxpayer project? Yes, you did. Did he get a lawyer letter about that? Bet he didn't.
You did get a lawyer letter.
About-
Somebody called in and said he was dumping rock on my property.
Never
Rock.
happened. Well, dirt, there's dirt, I know that.
Rock.
Where did you
Whose
get your
fault
base
is that?
under your driveway and your patio? Where did that come from? You hauled that in yourself?
No,
Okay, where did that come from?
that was the city's project.
Your patio and your
Well,
private
I mean, it was
driveway?
part of that project. They brought it in.
City. I just dealt with that with my house. So, all I can say is loss of a terrible, it's a terrible thing because we lost one hell of an individual.
Well, there's a little bit more to that too. Now, wasn't there a letter about paying for concrete?
Oh, yeah.
So why
Okay.
do we get a letter about paying for concrete when there's numerous people that haven't even got billed for it yet?
Have we
One
sent
guy
out
that
bills
volunteers to pay
for
for
all
it.
the people that got
It's trouble.
concrete from the sidewalk up to their houses? Have we sent out those bills?
From the sidewalk up to their houses, we don't send those out.
That'd be Mariano.
That's Mariano that sends those out.
Okay.
The
For the
question,
concrete?
Yes.
He bought
can
concrete.
we
Are you
have
just
like,
gonna allow
yeah,
this?
can we have a point of order or something and figure this out?
Yeah, okay.
My question on your bill was, I got a letter.
Why did it have to go to the lawyer? Why did you ask me?
Robert, when do you come in here?
Call me. I texted you the other day. I wanted these bills on Thursday. I get them tonight. You never even responded. You were gone Friday early. You never texted me you were gone. So, I mean, come on, don't tell me I don't come down here.
I questioned your concrete purchase because it was written on there that you want the invoice for that.
Yeah, that should.
That dollar amount, that number is nowhere. I can't match any of that up. So
No.
even taking your payment, I can't match that to anything. I don't have a square foot or anything.
Well, you
So-
do, because they spent a day, you took my guy, because Jim didn't agree with the amount of concrete being used, took my guy away from my project for a whole day on a good warm day to measure it all up again, and it came right back out to what it was supposed to be. So you know what the square footage is of everything that was used. It was done twice.
That's not how it works, is they poured part of a job for the city and then poured yours, you said that.
Yep.
So we don't know what invoice that would be on. That's what she's
It
saying.
came with the pour of the sidewalk and the pour of the approach. It was 1 or 2 loads. We're not gonna have one single load come. That's not economical. And you poured 1 million yards of cement. You told me you should know that you don't break up and have small loads. So it come in and here I take it, I mentioned this
She
last
doesn't know what
fall.
ticket that is.
Pardon?
She doesn't know what ticket that is.
That isn't the
That isn't the
question.
point. I have it. Jake has it. They measured it. I made a comment last fall that I owe the city money for that. I simply write a check out and it generates a letter from the lawyer. I'm the only one that's paid. Right? Nobody else is paid?
I mean, of the things the
Did you pay
city,
for your bad bill?
I paid for whatever I was billed for. I've been billed for my side, I paid last fall.
Did you pay for your
I
side
haven't
bill?
been billed by Mariano for my side, for my,
But the cement was bought by,
I guess,
City.
haven't been billed for it.
the city already paid that bill.
But I have not been billed. Mariano would have to pay the city back for that portion. The city
This-
paid for all the concrete.
No, he didn't.
The city paid for all
Yeah,
the concrete.
Right.
Mariano did that. He would have to bill me back for the concrete and labor, and he has not.
For the labor.
For the
And
land.
the
Why weren't
concrete.
you paying the city for the concrete? Because it was all.
Because I tried to figure out what I owed, and there's no record. It doesn't match. The day that they poured it does not match the yards. It's there.
So I generated a letter from the lawyer, because I paid $975, I believe. And I paid my bill, and it goes to the lawyer. I'm the only one that paid. I felt guilty. I was waiting for a bill, but I figured, we took length times, width times, thickness. And again, Mariano and Jake remeasured every curb, every retaining wall, every bit, and they come up with the same figure. When you were questioning what the cost of it all really was. So anyway, I figured, boy, I better pay. I don't like owing people money. So I paid my bill. And it generates a letter from the lawyer. Tom, you got something to say? You're kind of thinking, I know you're thinking a lot.
it mostly
When I measured
generates,
my driveway, and my pavings, I wanted to match the invoices to what was poured there so I could pay it. And they didn't match.
So why hasn't it been built?
Ask Mariano.
The cement has been paid for by the
How
city.
am I supposed to pay for it when I don't have it? The two invoices that match the day they poured mine don't match the yards that's there.
What does that matter? You have got so many yards poured. You are a contractor. You
Is this-
know
are we
how to
just
figure out how much
open
cement is
open
in
forum
that hole?
here.
Correct.
We're not gonna call
Yeah, I
point of
can tell you
order,
the yards.
anything?
Okay, so
But
that's what you
that's
owe
the
for.
measure.
It was $138.
Wow, just let it go.
Well, anyway, this has created a lot of hardships, all this. We lost a hell of a worker.
We haven't accepted.
We haven't accepted. No, that was my next step. Are we gonna accept Jake's resignation?
No.
No, no, Jake.
I mean, Jake, I'm on the I've been on the personnel committee. It's been crazy.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Please give us a month to straighten out.
So I just want, I wish you would have, I've called you. It's always been cordial. I wish you would have brought more things to me so I could try to do something.
Yeah. No, I just, I think it's for the best. I think it'd be the best one for everybody if I just kind of move on. I'll still be around. Just call 911, I'll be there.
In a different capacity.
Yeah.
Well, somebody want to make a motion to accept Jake's can't think of the word right now. Resignation. Thank you, Tom.
We just have a lot of conversations going on.
Somebody want to make a motion to reluctantly accept Jake's resignation? Anybody?
I got a hard time doing it. You do a hell of a job.
Yep.
Man, all you gotta do is go look up there. You been in that office lately?
Not lately, I haven't.
Well,
I saw it
I'll
before.
get up there tomorrow.
Saw it before.
Well, I think Jake has his mind made up, so somebody's gonna have to make a
Look, the
motion.
equipment, you see when the queen's driving around.
It's painted.
So. Because we need to march on again now and find somebody else to replace Jake.
Can, would you consider Jake just sitting down? One other person? And just talk about it.
We can.
I'm not saying. you want to
I'm not-
change your mind.
Yeah, I'm not gonna promise you anything. I really won't.
I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just,
Yeah, we can do that.
So we can put this on for the special meeting. Maybe?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't believe you've got planning your next endeavor or whatever. It's not.
No, I'll be here until the 20th.
20th, yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
Jake, I thought you did a very good job presenting your report tonight for as short term as you have been in charge.
So I thought he did a fantastic job.
Appreciate that, Bob.
So would we table this for tonight then? And when could we have a meeting? Can we have one Thursday night or we don't have time?
We try to do Friday night. I don't think you-
Pardon?
I don't think you have enough time for Thursday.
Because it's gotta be 72 hours.
I'm not gonna be here, not that I need to be, but
He wants to do the patching and stuff, he has the president next to you.
I should be able to get everything, but if we do it Friday night, I should be able to get everything.
Friday night, I'm hauling.
You're all-
So
About Monday
how
night.
about Monday night?
Yeah.
Anybody-
It probably doesn't make a difference when you have to read it and fix up his organization. Once he's tendered it, everything else is a formality.
I'm going Monday night too.
Tuesday?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then.
Saturday.
Can we hold
I have a
that on
wedding.
Saturday?
What's that?
Can we hold a meeting on a Saturday? In a public office?
I don't know of anybody who does hold them on Saturday, in fact, we just actually, because of the legal holidays and stuff.
Saturday morning, or you work Saturday?
Oh, I can do it on Saturday morning.
Saturday morning?
They do it for us.
I'll try. I'm in the wedding on Saturday.
I'm not gonna
Well,
be
we can
here.
have it at 7 o'clock.
Or whatever works your schedule.
Yeah, I mean, 8:30, 9 o'clock,
I would say
8 o'clock? Is that all right with everybody? 8 o'clock Saturday morning?
Jim and I will be out of town this weekend, if not that it apparently matters, but
So if 4 of us are here, is that adequate?
That's a problem.
So, all right, Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, so we make that a motion, have a meeting Saturday morning, 8 o'clock. Someone second? All in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carried. All righty,
Can I ask a question?
yeah, no,
Considering how these letters created such a disruption, can you make a deal here where from now on, everything goes from the lawyer in due process to you or the city council before it's given to Jake, so that there is a chain of command here that takes him out of the hot seat on this, so that it's done in a different way than what it has been? I mean, that might solve some of the problem of why he's upset. I do not want to see him gone.
we've never, ever, in 30 years. ever
So
had-
make a resolution that says from now on, if there is going to be anything legal done here, it has to go down the chain of command to you first, to the city council second, and then talk to Jake about it.
I would think what's in there first, because the mayor doesn't have any special power. He's just.
Okay, how about-
City council.
From you to the city council,
It should go to the
then,
city clerk, and the city clerk can address whether it should come to me or not. And that's the only where it has been coming.
What
seems
happens
there's a lack of communication in a good way here.
if we turn the whole city council into the personnel committee? Would that help out?
Well, we've already made that resolution.
I know, is that in the works or is that done?
The resolution.
Uh,
If you guys want to do the whole personnel committee, you've already received information from me regarding that.
Yeah. So would that help when we are all on the personnel?
It doesn't make any difference really between if you're all on personnel committee or all the city council. You can all make those corrections, and try to figure what happens.
So I mean, Ashley could call
But I don't
Tom.
know I don't know how you make decisions on things if you don't have the facts to base the decisions on. And that's what they're basically asking you to do.
Well, we gotta get better at this. This is unwarranted. This is
Bullshit.
not good.
Is there a reason why it didn't go to the council first before it went to Jake?
It was to get information for the council, so the council to act on it. And that's all it really was. You know, I don't think there was anything in the letters that was particularly out of line or something that I thought that he would take any kind of offense at. You know, part of it was there to try to protect them, because they're having to come with expenditures that were questionable whether or not they were pre-approved by the council. And quite frankly, if they're not approved by the council afterwards, it's on the look for a person. So I wanted to address that, so we weren't gonna have that situation. I've seen that happen to, street supervisors and things in the past where they took it upon themselves to authorize the expense. The council said no, and then they're on the hook.
Brian
So
Beckel worked
it-
here
it's
for
just-
a number of years. He gravelled the streets, he took it out of the pile, he'd call somebody to get more in there. He never went through any of this. He maintained the gravel road. That's all he did. We bought rock to maintain the gravel road and he maintained it. I don't know why that changed. Why did that change?
Well, because it wasn't proper in the first place.
Well, then it's not been proper for 30 years.
That everyone may be sure.
Ron Cole did the same thing when he was city maintenance. The rock got hauled, he spread it out on the gravel streets. It's just part of maintaining a gravel street.
But you have to follow the state statutes. Statutes may not be perfect. You certainly have to follow the city code. And you all took oaths on all of that. You know, so all I'm telling you is what city code is, what statute is, and we have to change things to comply with that. And a lot of that, I assume that when Ron was working for city maintenance, there was at least a resolution passed by the council that gave him that authority at some point. We don't have that here. You haven't done that.
Did we do it for Brian Beckel? Did we do it for Jerry Berg? Did we do it for all of the past part-time
No.
workers? We didn't do it then,
Right.
but now it's an issue.
But the question is why you didn't do that. And it did become, it is an issue now.
How long have you been our lawyer?
I think 15, 20 years.
Okay, so you were involved in about 3 or 4 employees.
Right.
Sure.
So, but why wasn't it then? Just because of phone calls and then that generated all these
But
letters?
issues of the city code have been addressed to before. We talked about what had to happen when we changed from Tri-City Police Department to the Sheriff's Department. We talked about payments and how that has to go and how the mayor is one of just 5 council members. These are not new issues, but they do get addressed again, and that's why some of the letters were more lengthy here, so we can get something put in place that does work going forward.
So did the city ordinances get sent to the sheriff's department back in 2019, December, when we disbanded and they asked for them?
Yeah, they get sent to the Sheriff's Department, they're on record at the courthouse. They would have access to them. And I would think that the city, they'd have to be sent to them. And how else do they enforce your ordinances? You know, but the situation the good under has is dramatically different. You could have the Sheriff's Department act on your behalf. Like Crystal has that. They have the Sheriff's Department as their chief. They've been appointed as their chief. The accident administrative role, there's also 2 officers. It's not saying you can't do things, it's just saying what you're doing isn't what your code says that you should be. So you either need to revise the code or revise what you're doing.
But again, it all happened in the month of April. Everything come to a head in the month of April. I mean, we've been doing this and patching streets and doing this for 15, 20, 30 years, and now all of a sudden it's an issue. So,
Again, everything I do is based on compliance, or based on requests.
well, okay, we're gonna meet Saturday morning, 8 o'clock, talk to Jake, whatever it may be. That's fine with everybody? All right. Well, we've touched on a lot of things here.
This is where, just so you can put the publication, what is the purpose of the meeting on Saturday? He's giving you a resignation. You can't, you know, if you're just doing the vote to whether you accept it or not. That's fine, it doesn't take that away.
Tom, what do you want to label the meeting as?
We want to discuss the bids he's going to get for the crack ceiling, overlays, that kind of thing.
So you're saying he has to have those by Friday?
He thinks he can. He thinks he can. And then also act on the resignation. On Saturday morning,
All right, you made that a motion then?
if I can. Yep.
All right, someone to second that?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carried. Anything else then, Jake? All right,
For you guys.
thank you. City clerk,
Well, I won't be here Friday. So, I got investment information. I still have not heard back from Old National with that where we currently have our investments. I spoke to Marvin at Pioneer. You guys should have a copy of that. And he gave us kind of some information of ideas of what we can do. And then I also spoke with Mark at Minstar. You guys should also have a copy of that email. To try to do something, if you guys want to move forward or.
What's your feelings on the Pioneer and Minstar investment information that we have here? I thought we had our investments broke up in a few steps, you know, but it don't seem like when you look at that, it's broke up anymore. We're not getting anything out of it. That one investment there where we could break it down to $200,000, maybe we should put, you know, step them 3 times, have them at different expirations or whatever.
Yeah.
Anybody else comment on that?
What was the interest that then again?
Pioneer is 8%, 8.5, and actually Minstar is 1.5. Minstar is
0.85. Not 85.
0.85.
Yeah. I'm gonna say 8%, where do we sign up?
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
And,
The market went down.
Minstar is 1.25 to 1%.
But it was gonna generate like $1,100 or $1,200, right? You know, we're getting $45 now.
Yeah, they said, you know, about 2,400 to 3,400, depending on how we did it and how we broke it down. They seemed very surprised that we weren't gaining any interest on what we currently have, so.
Should we take it under advisement for a month
I think so.
and take and,
Maybe we're not gonna lose that much either way.
no, and I mean, whether we do it now or if we do it in 30 days, we'll have time to look at it, see if it's feasible for the city.
And then Chris, if we're going to move our money by resolution to do all that.
Otherwise, a good letter from Burker.
So, next thing would be Hawk estimates for security door.
Yep. So Hawk came in. When the past clerk was here, there's that keypad out in the door that she had put in along with a video monitoring system. We sent the video monitoring system back. That lock on the door is still, we have the fobs for it, and there's still a strike on the door. So they gave us a price on having that set up and then installing a second one on this door. Kendall Doors was also out here to give us an estimate or to look and take measurements for solid doors on the Legion, on the copy room. They're looking at a Dutch door and then a solid door on this one, and then replacing the main door. He is out this week, so he'll get back to me hopefully next week with numbers on that. It was Kendall Doors. They do security doors on Mankato.
And
So I didn't check with anybody locally because we don't really have a scope of work. So I figured if we got one from Kendall Doors, we'll kind of know the measurements, what we're looking for, and we can maybe send it out to Brett and a couple of the local guys to get their numbers on after we get theirs back. Is kind of what I was thinking.
What is gonna be there in that door?
So he talked about doing an estimate for a solid door or the barn, like the barn door, the Dutch door. But also Hawk about putting the strike in here so you can just fob into there. So no one will go past this door then, like you guys said.
Should anybody ever be in that office, Chris? That isn't a city employee?
Yeah. People go to the city administrator's office and the city clerk's office. all the-
Pardon?
So people go to the city administrator and the city clerk's office. all the time.
Well, like Tom said, you gotta be buzzing down to LJP. I mean,
I don't know if you understand the question, right?
Yeah, well, you just automatically go in there and just, most cities will have a counter.
Yep.
You know, and you're not going and interacting with staff. If staff asks you to come back or you have purposes for coming back. But most of the time they would not just really have them open. But again, most of these are significantly larger than 500. You know, so there's nothing that said, it's not technically a legal question. There's no laws, so you have to do one way or the other.
Well, if you had kids in the library,
meetings are unattended under 18 years of age?
There is no statute that says that kids underage can't be in the library unattended. If you went to the library in Mankato, there'll be kids that are unattended that are under the age of 18.
Seems like a liability issue for the city. Well, those kids can get hurt here and there's nobody, no adult here watching them.
You could say the same thing about River Hills Mall, again, there's no policy that they have to put in place, it says if you're under 18, you have to be able to go.
I've just noticed there are plenty of places that say, you know, nobody under 18, that's like, especially being a government office.
I don't know of any government office that does. So if you know that, I will certainly take a look at it.
Check into that. This seems like a liability issue, that kids unattended. What happens if they wreck something?
Their parents and them are responsible for it.
Okay, so you'll be getting another one. How long will it take for the other guy to get on this?
Kendall Doors, they should be getting me one hopefully this week, early next week. And then once I get that, I'm gonna send kind of the scope of work out to the local guys that you suggested. So by next meeting, I would assume. But if you wanted to move forward with Hawk setting that up, he said it would take a couple hours and then you guys wouldn't have that code anymore. You would have the little black fob to get into City Hall.
So what is council's views on the cameras? It seems like I talked to Chris, in fact, one of these was me talking about them cameras. It seems like them cameras have caused a lot of issues. And at the last meeting, I mentioned it, and you said a lot of clerks have it on their own private phones. There's a number of towns here that was contacted, and there's no clerks have it on their private phone.
Well, Sarah also said that. It wasn't just me.
Like that when the clerk was looking at the phone and the security stuff, somebody called, and they saw people up at their city hall.
And when
Okay, so it's a public building. You can drive up there anytime. You can drive up and put
No,
something
they
in the
they were in the
Dropbox.
city hall.
Pardon?
That clerk I was sitting with, people were in city hall and somebody called and said, from the council said, you know, if there's a meeting up there tonight. And she looked and said, you know, it was the Legion or it was whatever. So I don't
What
think it's.
town was that?
I think
We
it was
have put a
Pemberton.
list of them here and there isn't any of them.
I think it was Pemberton.
is Amboy on there?
Well, anyway, the cameras have caused
Amboy's
quite
on
an
there, there's
issue.
just no answer about city cameras.
Yeah, Patty has hers on her phone. All of the clerks and I talked about it while we were up there. We have a policy on it. Jake's cameras aren't on my phone. If you don't want them on my phone, I don't care whether they're on my phone or not. I think it's,
Where did the direction come from to put them on?
you guys have them on your phone. You have access to them too. You were all given it. You all chose that you trusted your employees and you didn't need it. All of you said, we're given it, the password, everything. You decided you didn't need it. And there has never been,
On my phone, I'm sorry, I'm for a lot of days.
Is the city employee supposed to react after hours? to Things on their phone? I mean, are they supposed to be the police force? Watch on these cameras?
Are you directing the questions?
Well, you're the lawyer, wouldn't it be a legal question?
Generally speaking, city administrators, city clerks respond 24 hours.
I don't think we have an administrator.
You don't, but the city clerk is the next place of role. If there's an emergency, that's the person that would be the contact person and would be responsible for, taking action after hours.
So would there be any, would there be any reason for a city employee to use surveillance cameras on the city for anything that would happen on the highways anywhere around that they could see after hours? That has nothing to do with the city.
It's an awful broad question. Is it possible that there are reasons that they have? Yes. Is it possible that that'd be abused? Absolutely. I'm not aware of any cameras in the city, quite frankly, that can be on the highways.
This is right over here from the highway.
But I think that's ancillary to what the purpose is.
So it shouldn't be used, especially after hours. Shouldn't be monitored after hours and has nothing to do with the city.
I think it should be monitored after hours and if you're looking for protection. I mean, the only reason the council ever gave for having cameras in the first place was for property protection.
But who said somebody had to watch it?
For security.
Security.
It was actually for the
clerk security. That was the original reason.
Heather had told me that we had issues down at the shop and that there, you guys had concerns about that.
And that was added to it later. But why are we patrolling live? Why can't it be if there's a problem, you go back in the video and see what it is? I mean, after hours, I don't see any need for any city employee, no matter who it is, to be on the city's camera on their personal device, looking at what's happening on the highway. I mean, what would be the legal justification for that? It has absolutely nothing to do with the city. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
My concern is that the clerk is a non-exempt employee. And does that mean then that we are sort of inferring that your responsibility is to be monitoring that kind of thing off hours, so that sometime down the lane, we're gonna have a Department of Labor claim against us that we have not paid for that? I've had that happen to me once.
Yeah, I understand exactly where you're coming from. I think that's a very valid concern. You know,
There's my
in-
concern.
Right, in regards to how the city is set up, we don't have anybody else that's in a position to monitor those cameras.
Why can't they just be put in the sheriff's office and just recorded? Nothing in there anymore, nothing on a phone, just in there in this sheriff's office that they have access to. And it's being recorded 24/7. It holds it, Jake says his holds it for 8 months. Why can't it just go in here? It would have, you said that day when I talked to you, they have a lot of problems if we just did that. So can we do that?
If you have an agreement with the sheriff's department that they're gonna respond to any data requests that you get. I don't know what your agreement with the sheriff's department is. If you had a chief of police, I would tell you, I think that's absolutely the way I would go. But you don't. And you don't have a contract with the sheriff's department back.
Well, then, can we have them just to be recorded only, no live screen, no phone feed? Can we make that a motion tonight that it's only recorded?
You need to have a policy put in place as to why you're recording it, and how you run it, who has access, and when you
Do we have a policy in place now that we're monitoring the streets?
don't have a policy in place at all. I don't honestly think you need to, you know. I-
There,
I
problem
agree with you.
solved. It's off my phone. Problem solved. Done. So does Robert, Vicky.
What should we?
So does Jim. So does Tom. So does Ron. So does Sarah.
Stop. There's a point of order that you need to take care of, because this chiming in left and right
You
is
need to
not appropriate.
keep this orderly. We're not gonna get out of order here. It's been already, so, okay. So how do you wanna handle it? Anybody got?
It's already handled. Took it off the phone. There you go.
If you want
We
me-
still have it in there.
So you want to change the policy, so when you come in and ask her for some stuff, I don't want to say
There
there
is
is
no
no policy. What I'm saying is that we make the policy, sits there and records, and you come in and say, there's an accident on here, actually look that up for me. She can't do that anymore, you're gonna have to call the sheriff's department to do that.
That'd be just great.
Yes.
That'd be just good.
Accident isn't the city's problem. We've used them several times to find out who hit a car with a tractor. Multiple times have been used to find out.
Yep, that's right.
And that's what the deputy can do.
That's what the deputy do. Can the deputy come in here if there's an issue and ask the clerk to monitor that camera recordings? Pardon?
You repeat the question, I'm not sure. I think I'm.
If there's an incident that the sheriff needs some proof,
Mhm.
can the sheriff come in and go back over the recordings, whether it's 5 days ago or 4 hours ago,
They can
whatever?
do that regardless of their policy. They have that as part of their police powers.
They have that in police powers?
Yes, and they
Okay.
can go, the same way they can go to any business in town that has cameras and ask for copies of their videotapes. So the question is if you have these cameras outside of the sheriff's department doing what they are supposed to do, what possible purpose do you have for these cameras? And then it really should be some city staff person that has access to them, that's watching them, or for whatever purpose you have for it. Otherwise, if you're just, recording it for some later date that the council may or may not want to have. I don't see any benefit to having cameras at all.
What do you talk about it?
I mean, let's be real, the original reason we wanted cameras, you could monitor when the police were here and when they were. Because we had them for like 5 days and you came and asked the clerk that was here then, go through the cameras and figure out how many hours the police were here and how many hours they weren't.
I never got done, so.
Well, but that was your intention. Because I remember when we got the cameras, I didn't want them. I wanted them for security. I wanted them for like mitigation in the future. Like, okay, somebody broke into City Hall, But the intention was to watch employees. And I didn't want it to be to watch employees, but that's what it, I think it was because it was shortly thereafter, you requested, I want to know when the police are here and when they're not. And that clerk would not do that because she didn't feel it was her job.
When somebody asks you, how many hours are we getting out of our Tri-Cities?
It was
police?
before that, wasn't it?
Before Tri-Cities?
Yeah,
No, it would have been about
okay,
Tri-Cities.
but it was, but don't not mention the fact that that was one of the main reasons why,
No.
that you wanted the cameras at the city hall.
Watch us. That, what's her name? I can't think of her name now. The former.
Heather,
Heather. Heather was afraid. She had concerns. She was afraid. And there was no way to get out of it. I
So
mean,
we were gonna
remember
get our
all those
panic button.
discussions? Remember, yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, there's not, we even talked about putting an extra door.
I remember that too. And I also remember saying I didn't want employees being watched.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then-
we didn't put it in the office itself.
It was in the office itself.
It wasn't, it is now because the incident between.
Okay. So you essentially just wanted to see the police officers come. Because it wasn't 2 weeks later, you asked her to count how many hours. the police were here. So I'm just saying that that was originally what it was. I mean, she might have brought it up, but that was a definite nice little side package there.
Well, maybe it is, and that's what Chris is getting at now, is that maybe it'll give us things that we don't really want to see.
Well, and that's, it. If you're really looking for watching employees, so that's always problematic.
I mean, I work at a school, there's cameras everywhere, you know, except in my classroom.
Well, you
but-
can do that, and if you're looking at the cameras, so say you guys decide you want to keep cameras in place, and you just want to do it for an incident report, we have a policy that says, unless there's an incident, we're keeping these tapes for 2 weeks, and if there's no incident, they're getting erased, and then to the meeting, if there's an incident, they get saved, that's fine.
I only thought they could hold 2 weeks.
Yeah.
they hold 3 weeks. These ones hold
Oh,
3
they should
weeks.
hold 8 months.
Mine holds it for 8 months.
Does it? I'm not familiar with those.
It's just a matter of.
Okay, getting back to the cameras. Keep them, shut them off. What do you want to do?
There's a number of cities that don't have any of them. Record only would be a great. Like you say, if somebody had a problem. Anyone heard you might see it.
Some of those copies back.
I agree, since we have them,
Motion.
I think we should keep them, record only if something happens. Not monitor them, have them if something happens. If somebody was to break into city hall, we have that.
Then I would like the door to be eyeball women only.
Yeah, but you could just.
Did you use it to look outside to see who's walking in?
90% of my day, as everyone said before, is spent on the computer with my nose in that corner. So if I can't have the door up there, then the door needs to be buzzing only.
Yeah, you can't do.
So I'm just, if someone comes in angry like they have multiple times, and they can just come in and with shotgun, whatever, and I can't stop them. But these cameras after the fact will surely get a good view of them shooting. Awesome.
But that's what we want for the security, just like this is describing there. Just to eliminate that
But
issue.
they can still shoot a gun over a Dutch door.
They can shoot you through the window.
That's what I'm saying though. So the cameras don't protect the employees, period. It's an after the fact. And we've had this conversation last month.
The cameras are after the fact. The accident's already happened. Everything has happened after the fact. When you look at the camera. You can't.
You could leave that one and eliminate.
$10,000 worth of cameras, I think you leave them up. If you want them recording only, then have them record only.
Well, Tom made a motion to remove them. Someone want to second that vote? Or motion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No.
2 opposed, 3 yeses, 2 noes. Motion is passed. All right. Anything else under, you got SMIF grant?
Well, we got awarded 250 books for the kids under a grant. But if we don't want to have a library, I guess I can just call and tell them we don't want to accept the grant. We're supposed to pick up in June 2022. I know, yeah, in this area, it's kind of being implied, so.
said we wanted to have the store buzz in, I wanted to raise that point. We can't have the library and have you buzz everybody in the library.
Unfortunately, we can't have a buzzer for city hall with the public has to have access.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, that's why we've been wanting this for months, years, actually.
Years,
This was
since
a
Heather.
discussion years. With all of this, is what we're talking about now, so. We're finally getting something moving on it now.
So the $250
250 books.
for books, okay.
And who's that from?
So it's a Smith. It's the fiscal year 2022 literacy grant from them. So in June, I will go pick them up. And in June, we are supposed to issue a formal acceptance letter of it.
Anything else?
No,
One thing here, I never knew that our council meetings are on YouTube.
yep.
Is it put on by the city or is it?
I put them on when I was accused of editing the city council meetings. And then I tried to give it to you on a disc, and then the disc did not work. So they are available on YouTube for everyone to see, so that there's no question about it, about what's said, who said it. I can't be accused of editing these meeting minutes. It's all out there.
So is that the powers of the clerk to be able to do that, or does that have to go through front of the council? So we can't create a policy that we don't want our city minutes on YouTube? Well, at least it don't come from this office.
But I don't believe this necessarily, well, you can have a policy saying that the city does not want to have this put down on YouTube and you can control your social media.
And I'm only one, what is the rest of the rest of you?
I think those videos are great transparency. When people want to know what somebody said, it's right there. Because the minutes are the typed version, the abbreviation of the meeting. If someone wants to know exactly what's said, the video show 100%.
How about if the video isn't 100%? You're missing a lot of video. And then also, can you put that on before they're approved by the city council? Wouldn't there be an issue there?
Could be live streamed and go immediately on there. There's a lot of councils that have TV or whatever, and they go
How
over
should
there.
that be handled? Can we do all this with, you know, we always take the minutes from the previous minute and okay them.
Right.
So now this that we're talking about tonight isn't okayed yet, but it's already out on YouTube.
The social media policy, you know, we're not just streaming, don't stream it. City council meetings, you know, quite frankly, it is always going to be a different issue. And you can choose not to stream it or have it, but there's copies of these meetings being recorded now that somebody would have access to if like the meeting minutes were on, whether going forward. You know, but you approving the minutes is more of technical formality and approval of what the function's going to be. So they serve two separate purposes, but you know, the fact that, you know, you don't get to go back and correct what was said on live stream video.
Council, thoughts?
There's a comment from the Maple River Messenger that says they appreciate having them on YouTube. Fairmont does live stream its meetings on cable.
About Mapleton himself and Amboy and Vernon.
I don't know. I could call them and find out.
Well, we can table that till next month.
It's live streams like this, the live streams, not Cato's on cable and live streams and Cato live streams. You know, so most of the other communities in BlurCon or something like that.
All right. We can do it further, anybody?
I mean, I say we're, everything's put on from start to finish.
Yeah, I would like more than half a dozen of them. It's great to kind of update, you know. It takes a lot of time.
If it doesn't go through, policy basically that, so the city has control over that. And that the council can determine how long it's gonna stay up there by policy or anything else. Right now, you're gonna leave it up, because if you vote no, it doesn't mean that this isn't gonna go up on Tuesday. It just means we don't have much control over it.
You're doing it way.
It is what it is. Here you would be able to, if somebody says something inappropriate in the meeting, you chose to take it off the YouTube. If that's kind of really possible, you would be able to do that.
Let's table it for the next meeting.
Fine with everybody? Table to next meeting, anything else?
No.
The revolving fund, now that we have $22,000 back in there, something, right? Can people, now, do we put that out there that they can now reapply again because there's money there?
We get somebody to manage that.
So if you go under new business, that's something that we're gonna address because there was a letter from Kennedy addressing on the back of it. Under new business, Kennedy sent a letter addressing that, giving you some options. We thought the best idea would be for either Judd from MVAC or the COG to administer it and the council be hands off. So that there's no issues.
Because the council of governments administrate that already.
I think so. But I don't know why they wouldn't have while we were hooked up on it. Why we got involved with Judd.
We did pay them, right?
Who? The council, the COG? Yeah.
Didn't we get involved with Judd because it was originally through MVC?
Yep.
He was the one who had this money, and then because it came back, now we can choose what to do.
Because it was, if I remember correctly, it was Vernon and Good Thunder, I think, that had the revolving loan at the same time. So MVAC first initially started it.
Yeah, so Judge Schultz was the guy who like looked at the applications and process, but then when something got paid back, we could receive the funds. So we were trying to find a way to get it back to the citizens or.
So do we ask Judd to proceed again now that there's funds in there?
I think since he started with it, maybe we should.
And then he might say, no, now because it's been sent back, now go do. Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Well, because when we asked him, I think it was last year, he said that as long as we follow essentially the same guidelines, and if someone's using it, they submit receipts for the paid invoice, and it's for the outside remodel of the home, it was fine. So we kind of based it on that. If I can look back and find an email or a letter from him on that. But
Maybe if we could touch base with him still to find out if we don't want to be the people that do it.
Didn't Burkhart say last month, because this money was payback money, right? So he said that we should be administering the same exact way. So we give someone 5,000, they sell their house a year later, they need to pay the money back. That's what Burkhart said last month. Because we've been giving it as grants, basically.
The forms to the application that have to start all over again, right? New applications.
Yeah.
That's my concern. I want to have someone who, like Judd, or someone with the car, whoever, that does that part, does the administration part. So that it takes the choosing out of councils.
Would they be the ones that would say yes or no on this
Yeah.
application?
Yep.
I think so.
Application one, application two.
They're the ones that would vet all the information, all of that.
You give them parameters and what they make the decisions. The question that you have to figure out at some point is that you have a number of applicants that were there when we ran out of funds. What do we do with those applicants versus,
Did they ever send a contract?
who?
The car. We're contracted for a year.
I'm pretty sure they did. I don't know. I'd have,
$4,500 now. How much, we've been with them for 3 months now, I believe. How much have we used them in 3 months?
I talked to Jessica a few times a week and she was just out here.
Yeah, how
last
many
week or 2
times
weeks
have they
ago?
been out to help you with,
She was just out here last week or the week before that.
for like 3-4 hours a day?
She was here for a couple hours and then we were going over the COVID funding money that was coming in.
Well, I think it'd be a good idea to let them sort through, put it out there, so that money is available again, you have to reapply. That way, it takes us off the hook because we didn't dig deep enough.
We don't do it every day.
We're not lawyers. We're not city administrator, or city clerk. This isn't our job. This is only once a month. So,
Twice.
yeah. So does that sound good to everybody? If somebody want to make a motion on that to let the COG be the administrators of that, right? Would that be the right word?
I'll make that motion.
COG or MBAC?
Pardon?
COG or MBAC?
COG, Council of Governments.
Right. I just don't know if they do that. I know MBAC does, I just don't know if they do that.
Yeah, John
Well-
is with MBAC.
If, would we have to redo that motion if they do that? Otherwise, would we turn it to the MBAC?
Sure.
Okay, sure. Who's your preferential choice? Our first?
Because we've already paid them.
Yep, that's right. Yep. All right, somebody make that a motion then, or did you, John? Someone to second?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed, motion carried. All righty, down to community comment. We've already had quite a few, which we probably shouldn't have done that, but anybody else now with community comment? Pardon?
You like to go home.
You would like to what?
Ben, you go.
home because he's gotta get up early.
Ben.
Okay, you have a comment then?
What was the verdict on the Oak Tree?
On the what?
On the Oak Tree.
We gotta
Yep.
be coming down.
Yep.
Yep.
Anything else? Alrighty, anybody else?
I do, who's got it? Well, I'm gonna talk about, the water line to 840 Miller Drive and the next place to the west.
Okay,
I just need, put me in whatever, but we need to talk about it.
alright. Under new business, can we do that?
It's gonna be community comment if he's bringing this up, because you can't put something out for new business once
You got a question about the water line.
But you can ask the questions, but that's what this.
Let's do it now.
But for the council to take action, they just can't take action at this meeting. They'd have to take action at the next meeting. Theoretically, it could be, I guess, put onto the agenda for the Saturday.
Glad you're here. The house at 840 Hiller Drive, the next one, there's a private water line from the Chapel Street.
Chapel Street.
Okay. We're in the process of selling, and on the behalf of the other owner of the place to the west, we might have a little issue about if there be a water main break. So is there like a easement, or is there what would happen if there's corn up there, with somebody and there's a water line? Does the city automatically just have to go and do it with a big problem with the farmer, or do we have to have a legal easement or a right of way or a something?
They're not a water main, though, they're private lines from the
True.
water main to residents.
Right, I think.
Basically, probably 2 shut-offs today.
Okay, so that's a private line from the chapel? Okay,
To Hiller Drive, you might as well say.
but, okay, so this happened not that long ago. You know, within the last 20 years, correct?
Right.
So was there anything done, the property owner of Fishers at that time, I believe? Or where does that, is it on the map where it actually lays? In the property?
Water line?
Kind of shows it, you know, back here.
Are you talking about these two houses right here?
Yep,
So there's a blue line
yep.
with the shut-offs right here.
No, there's other shut-offs too, correct?
So those two shut-offs are in line, and then, I guess the way we can tell is just let the homeowners know. Shut it off.
Yeah.
They're both on right now, so looking at them and putting the wrench on, they're both on. And then Ron thought there might be a possibility of one being up in the line fence. And I was, looking with the metal detector with the line fence in there, you're just kind of throwing darts. But that would be a way, even if it was a spigot outside, let the homeowner know that, we're gonna shut the water off just to determine this is your service, this is your service. But that doesn't cover your.
The question of like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Theoretically,
It's
we
just
should-
an uh-oh question, like. So it's a private line, so whoever owns the properties would have to make an agreement with the owners for the end of the water, right? The city's got nothing to.
The city doesn't have anything to do with it, but there should be easements supposed to mines that went through the farmer's field when they were built. So those easements.
Well, it was owned by the homeowners at the time, so it was the same landowner and the homeowner at the time.
then legally speaking, you probably have an easement when they sold that parcel of land to the farmer, or whoever they sold it to. That you'd be able to maintain those lines to that area.
That would be the individual's responsibility to create that easement
Yeah, it's individual responsibility, it's not city. Yeah, it's
because
not
it is a
city.
private line, really. Okay.
Well, it's all interesting. Yeah.
All right, anybody else with community comment?
Speaking of easement, what is it gonna take to put our easement to bed down there? So if a tile falls in and it needs to be fixed, it's city.
So on,
Somebody's gotta get this going because it's been way too long and created an issue that shouldn't have been there.
on,
This easement needs to be, if it's been voted on, it needs to be voted on, whatever, something needs to happen. So that it's taken care of, but
under, if you flip over your agendas there, under unfinished business, they're on there to be accepted. And then Sarah will sign them, and then I will send them to the county tomorrow morning.
it's just unfortunate it's taken all this.
All right, we'll take that under advisement. Anyone else? If not, it's time's going fast. We'll move on to unfinished business. First thing is a rental. I take it as that house. Or what's a rental?
Oh, just, we still have the three that are not in compliance.
Oh, you mean
So,
housing?
yeah,
rental
like
rentals.
our rentals, the
Okay.
ordinance if.
That is one of the issues I was asking. Our city code has certain ways that we're supposed to enforce that. At the end of the day, we have very little that we can do as consequently without this department. That's one of the parts of the city code that talks about our police chief and taking action and moving forward with it. Theoretically, it would be issuing a citation, which the sheriff's department's not going to do. So that's just, one of the things I'm gonna be recommending to the council, you guys do a work session. Kind of go through, the code, I'll talk about that later, but that's where we're at right now on the rental one. Because it's very difficult to figure out a way that we can try to enforce it. I guess we could theoretically bring civil actions, say in violation of it, but my concern is if I get to court and I win with the judge, which I'm confident that I'll do, but the judge may or may not have any remedy. Based on, say, that they need to have one, but there's something that's sort of spelled out in there that in case what's going to happen at the point.
How many are out of compliance yet? Or?
3.
Okay, I know one has been looked into. Judge Schultz said, don't worry about it, I'll get to it. So that'll be down to 2.
But one of the things the council may want to consider is whether or not you want to have a rental ordinance in place. I don't think many towns your size necessarily have it. And there's a lot of things I like about your city code, but I don't know that they're working well for that's the medium size. Yeah, and I think that's what you guys are running up against. I think in practice, things have happened the way they have because following all the rules and things of that nature are just not employees, people that have the time for everything. You're hell on paper.
Comment? Anybody on rentals?
I myself kind of like to have it.
What's
And I think
protection for the-
Mapleton has it.
Protection for the renters too.
Yeah, it's a protection for the renters because otherwise places could get run down and bad electrical and it could kill somebody. It's not taken care of. I'm in favor of making sure it's.
One is protection for firemen, if they have outdoor stairs, it was all that weight business, they had to make sure that they could withstand, the weight and stuff.
Yeah, and Mapleton does have one. I drafted one for them.
Yeah.
I don't think Mapleton has one. I don't believe Wood Crystal has a rental license. So it's to me, guys, it's just, if we're gonna have something, then the question comes, is how do we enforce it?
Well, in our,
Who's responsible to that is.
in our ordinance, it talks about the police chief, Everywhere.
Yeah.
so can we, with the county, we have a liaison officer that would come to our meetings if we need to. Do we need to talk to the county about setting one of them as
You can
Our
talk to those others.
chief, so to speak?
And that would probably be better. That's what Mike Muller does. Or had been doing for the city of Russell.
So at this time, we'll keep the voice and send out another round of letters.
So far as not being able to enforce, there are a lot of things we can't enforce, I mean, I don't
Yeah, Even if the police do something about it, then it goes to the county and then it.
Just, it does nothing happens anyway, I mean, so it's just another tool to try to be honest on this thing.
You get to decide where you want to almost everything, and having it there will alleviate some of the concerns if somebody were to have a slumlord situation and they would kind of do something. A licensing and violation. So I'm not saying you don't, there's not risks.
You know, at least we can have you send a letter to initiate some action. You know what I mean?
Well, that's what. I mean, it does stuff.
All right, anything else under? Good.
Well, do you guys want me to send another letter? You want Chris to send another letter? I know from one resident that my letters get thrown away as soon as they receive them. So I don't know that mine carry any weight.
Well, send another letter, hopefully in another month, 30 days, more will be in compliance. Already talked about red iron cement payment. It's an acceptance.
Do you want me to send those letters or do you want Ashley to send a letter?
Well, we've already paid Ashley, we gotta pay you, so let's have Ashley.
I just want to have clarification.
Yeah. Gotta cut down on expenses. Okay, easement acceptance.
Yes. So
It would just be said that I didn't like not sign this. I didn't know we were supposed to. I don't know that we've ever received it. to
there's
sign it.
tabs there where you can sign, and that's just,
Yeah, I'm just saying, I don't want to be adding to the problem.
and then tomorrow I will send them to the county.
Okay, move on to new business, pay equity, compliance report.
Very interesting. I think that what we ought to do, in my opinion, is table all of that until we get Jake straightened around or whatever. Sorry. And we get a full council as
First company.
very excited. We need to do that. How we gonna do it?
Compliance.
Right now, the rest. You can table it.
I'm not saying you don't turn it in.
Oh, no, but I understand, it. We get to the second part. You know, so what I would recommend is that the file is there, would be reported. That will trigger the state, we've actually taken some action, but not in finance, we're working with them. And then you can figure out how you want to deal with that issue. You know, we do know certain things, you know, that from all the approval things that they're gonna look at, city clerk's always gonna be in the highest position in the city, everything kind of gets directed after that. And then I show what reasons that there may be for some kind of differences. So the salary probably isn't a good issue for the city here. If it's based on the number of hours, but where we do have a problem, it's gonna be a difference.
What he said.
You wanna make that a motion?
Yeah.
Okay, someone second. Tom made it. Someone second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carried. Okay, legal advice from Kennedy, we've gotten some, we got more.
I think you talked about most of them. Do you guys have any questions regarding that? We talked about pay equity, we talked about Holland Rock again. Just for your information, this one, it's not saying that it's impossible for you, but because you're mayor, there's specific rules that have to be put in place. It has to be approved prior to that. And then you still receive it.
Is that done by a piece of paper then created by the clerk or with you and the clerk? How
I think the
did
council would basically just go and they were accepting bids for hauling to the city for this period of time and then, you know, submit it and submit it.
so that's how it should have been done the last 30 years? to
Yeah.
Put our rock hauling out on bid, whether it's 10 loads a year or 4 or 5 or.
No, it needs to be done that way anytime you were looking to be doing a hauling for it. It's an exception under the rule that council members can have no financial stake in anything for the city. There's a number of exceptions, you know. One, that, you know, you could be the banker for the city. Two, you can be doing the newspaper for it. Otherwise, if you're a small enough town and they've been approved through that process for the accepted multiple bids, then you can, then it's open.
Another question. City has gotten rid of or trying to get rid of the gas tanks. The fire department gets gas at my gas station. I own it. Now we're in violation there too.
You're not in violation as long as you buy it just like any of the customers. If they have, if the fire department were going up for bids and said that we want to buy this many gallons, then we have to go ahead and do that. But it's something that they were, you know, there's something with it.
So we're not in violation there. They can fill the tractor, the dump truck, the lawnmower, whatever. We're
No,
good.
they're not in violation of it. No, they're not in
And I'm
violation.
not in violation?
You're not in violation by some.
Oh, wow, here, I thought maybe, well, okay.
You know, but like I said, if it would be something where you're looking to sell a larger amount in your storage, then you probably have to take a look at
Okay.
that. But a lot of these laws are not made well for small towns.
No, I guess not.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's just daily or weekly.
Well, but maybe both North Mankato and Mankato, you would like to have council members that quit because of took positions that were going to be receiving money from the city or and some other, you know, more direct. You know, they just have to make that choice.
All right. Anything else then under,
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I covered, but you guys haven't seen, you've seen all the letters and everything else, I'm sure. Mr. Brenner, I certainly didn't mean to give you anything that was going to cause any problems.
No, I think,
But
I think in a way you were just doing your job, doing what I was asked with you. I think it was mostly just Jim and Ashley, and maybe I shouldn't say their names, but
Go
just
for it.
kind of forcing you to send them
well,
over, I guess.
if there's something addressed, it's just trying to take a look at it. We're frankly allowed to, you know, mainly to look for your protection and kind of see what happens. But the last thing I guess I do want the council to consider, I think, I don't know that you have to do it immediately, but you should be looking into a work session to figure out a couple things and one, you know, what we want to do with the city code. Do you want to do a complete revamp of the city code? Do you want to take a look at it and see what's going to be there now? Because there's like, is there a planning commission?
No.
Is it? in the city
no
code?
city involvement? This is the most city involvement we've had in a long time.
Yeah, I understand
Thank
that, but we have an administration, that's somebody who's supposed to be looking over the city clerk. You know, that these are all things that are in the city code. It all makes a lot of sense, but I don't know how you get that much community involvement and taking a look at things. And these are all things that are meant there to kind of help the council. We just have to figure out which of these we want to have still remain in place or how we want to kind of look at changing some of those. You know, and we've seen that with the personnel committee that we wanted to widen that out and kind of make that for the entire council and for all intents and purposes now you have to become a planning commission. We just want to kind of, you know, figure out where you want to be, where you want to be 10 years from now and get things back in line and take a look at it. So I'd like to see that. I think you also, we've been going back and forth on this probably for about 8 months now. You need to figure out what you want from the city clerk position, how many hours that's going to take and how you want to have that addressed. But statutorily, there's certain things that we know the city clerk is responsible for. And you can say who about, you know, she's got to do the budget, she's got to do the minutes, you know, she's going to be the person who's going to be in charge of pay, you know, outside of the council, she's the only person in the city that's going to have the authority to work, and I'm using that, especially in that position now, that position's going to have authority to make those consequences. There's nothing in statute that allows any other employee for the city to authorize those. And, you know, some of that stuff that you know, it makes it, if you know that's happening, it has to be tracked. That's why if you have a few employees, it's important that they figure out, you know, that we have those lines of communication with people and what they're looking to do, and it doesn't put them in an awkward position. So that part you have to figure out, and that's one of the letters we got from the various kind of talking about what the statute calls for in these positions of what it has to be, and then we'll also kind of go along with the pathway you figure it out.
Need to be done, especially meeting.
I think you want to go in a couple of sessions. I think. And the purpose for the work sessions is, you know, you give yourself a little bit of time for everybody to familiarize with it, you guys have a discussion, you come back to a work session, and then give you direction. So instead of giving you 5 different ideas of what could be happening, or not, so this is what we're looking at. Can we do that, or if we do this, what's the problems with doing that, what's not the problems with doing that?
Well, I think Tom mentioned it last month that, you know, we might have to have 2 meetings to go over some of the finances. And that's gonna take time. That's something we wish to do yet for a while.
I think working on this, what he's talking about should be just done that night, just doing that. Otherwise, you're gonna run into this 9:30 thing.
I think you could do a work sessions to just plan on doing for the next 6 months. You know, the mayor makes a very valid point. I mean, things have been done a certain way for 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not expecting that we make them have a change overnight. But I think if it's being brought up and we have to address it, this, you know, let's address everything and take our time and get it right.
Good. All right. Anything else on the new business?
Oh, brand new, okay. Well, maybe this is old. I mentioned it last meeting, you know, we gotta be thinking about the future with the lagoons and, you know, I guess Brian, you know, we don't know exactly where we are yet for what we're getting at the ponds. But I'd like to start the process at least so that we can have an engineer decide for sure, do we need to have a bigger pond or another pond? Or do we have enough now that maybe we've got some of the infiltration under control?
We got 200 and some thousand gallons a couple days, Jake, and then rainfalls.
You know, the Thursday night rain that we had, 2.5 go out. Right, so that's, the numbers were way up.
If you go down there and look, do you know how far that would have to be off the center line of County Road?
We looked that up one time.
I mean, we have a lot of tree area there. That both ponds could be added on to the south end.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they can be.
And is that something we should just get a hold of the engineer and start
Yes.
moving forward on?
I would like to do that. I would like to start something so we know what we're talking about at least. You know, I mean, even at 0.08%, you know, I mean, that's not very much money. It would be way better off to put some kind of future infrastructure in. Like I mentioned last time too, though, maybe consider running the water and sewer up to the potential land that we actually have access to.
Potential to buy.
Or future housing.
Yep.
You know, do something like that because, you know, you could put $500,000 in the ground, it's gonna be like 30 years. Right?
It's gonna be there 50 years from now.
It's not steel, boy, you know, I mean, if we're making nothing now,
Well, we have an opportunity for the town to grow, but first we have to start down there.
that's right.
Can we handle it?
That's right. And then we gotta go over there.
Yep. Then we
And
have
see what we
to.
can do for sure there, you know, I mean. We keep throwing around grants and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there are grants out there, gee whiz, there's bucks full of grants even. But it takes somebody to kind of get us going in the right direction, and then maybe we can consider something like that, you know? And I just looked up the other night, the median income in Midland is $64,000, I think, a year, something like that. Pretty high, 64,000. Not much chance for many grants,
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
you know?
Especially if we're talking water, because of what we charge for water. Remember you said we're so far
Yep.
below that we haven't exhausted all the possibilities to create that revenue.
But at the same time,
We don't want to raise our rates.
no.
You're low on water charges? We have
According
I
to,
think it's plenty high now.
I agree, but that's what they told us.
Holy cow.
I know.
So anyway, I don't know. I like to kind of, I know I talked about that last month. I'd like to kind of get that going if we could, you know.
Do we invite Jeff out for the next meeting?
I think it'd be a great idea. Yeah,
Do we want to have a meeting in the middle of the month then? Or another one? I mean, not the middle of the month. Do we want to have a second meeting this month? As far as the council meeting to have him come out, all rolling, or
if we can. I
We
don't
should
know
get
what
Brian.
do we have to change our policies and we have to have 2 a month? If needed, can we do something like that?
Yeah, we could-
You can
Remember he
always
said
go
we could
extra
always do
meetings.
that.
We just have
I'm
to
just
ask
trying, I'm just trying to remember your. I don't know if there's some things that they send me more, so I think we can sort it out what we want. I think we're gonna be surprised. And I do think getting engineering stuff involved real quickly, I can tell you, we're working with the League of Minnesota Cities that, they're very encouraging cities with water projects. We're looking to try to get on the next bond, so because there's some expectation we won't have the surplus that we've had the last couple of years.
All right.
If you look at that aerial photo over there, right behind Robert, with the ponds on the map, it looks like there's.
Oh, it's on the door,
doesn't look like
Tom.
there's much room there, you know, we're talking about that pond there, you almost have to add a 2-acre pond to.
And then you gotta go through the condemnation. You're not gonna buy it.
And that's why I want to give it a pool. You know, I mean, if that's the case, that's the case, but
Jeff could tell us how far off center line on the highway we could be. I mean, I don't recall driving by any towns that are very close to a highway, but it doesn't mean you can't.
you gotta go through engineering.
Yeah, well, sewer used to
Depending
be
which
just off 169, remember the ponds there before they did them, they were just right off 169.
That's true. Yep. So maybe, I mean,
Yeah.
if they could figure out this footage and that, maybe we could not gain enough gallonage without going into land. And in 35 years, whoever's sitting here then could go out, get more land, expand it with them. Use it. So. All right.
And I guess I mentioned the possibility, and that's something we want to talk about. Yeah, is, what would it take to run water sewer out? What can we do to, I mean, we're in a situation right now we've never been, not as long as I've been on council, where we can actually have somebody that's interested in selling property. We can build on it. What can we do to, I don't want to use the word sew it up, that's not the right word, but encourage that, what we can do. We're not in the development business. I don't mean to say that. I just mean that. Is there anything we can do to?
First, we might want to check and make sure that land's available.
Well, yeah.
Because that could have changed, $7.50, 70, 80 cent corn pays a lot of bills. And so we'll see if it's available. We'll get a hold of Jeff, see what he thinks, what we could gain by adding on to the existing. We could just do a number of things to get the ball rolling, get an estimate of what it would cost to run some water and sewer out there. Yeah. So, I mean, we got to start somewhere. Is the economy going to fall apart where there won't be a housing bubble? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. But if we just sit here year after year after year and talk about it, well,
And we're
that
making,
opportunity could go away. And,
and we're making $48 a year on our investment.
the other thing is unfinished business is that the accountant, Jeff, great,
Okay.
recommended that we set a list of vendors that, and then give Ashley the opportunity or the authority to pay those vendors. I was wondering if you could give us a list of the vendors.
Mhm.
And then next meeting.
Yep.
Regular meeting, then we can look at that.
So they're the people we mainly use, like the Excel in the Northwest and
Yeah, the ones that
Boeing.
Cause you the trouble, that don't have enough time. to
Yeah.
get Paid by statute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then, the LJP one, like, just cause that's, that one always comes, like, they send it on the 30th and it gets here the 15th. With that one, because it is a 30-day, I've just been stamping it when we get it received on X date, because Greg said if it's stamped and it's over the 30 days, then we can't be responsible if it's late. We won't get dinged for it. So, just as a,
But there are some things that.
Yep. Yep, I'll get you a list of them.
So we get that and we can act on it. Make it happen.
Okay. Anything else? I got one thing, our handicap parking out here is getting very, very, well, it's not painted on the cement very good anymore. Can we get that painted? And should we add one over here in front of the garage door so we have two? Because we have elderly people. Do we ever get two at the same time? Don't know. But should we have two spots available for handicap?
I'm surprised it isn't required for this building. Like, my goodness, we have to have more than that at LKB.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure the government wants to do that, grant for grants, probably not. But get them to be granting its own grants.
so I don't know, Jake,
You don't have any.
if you could find time for somebody to maybe, if Jake can find somebody to paint that, should we have 2 parking spots?
Who does the crosswalks for graffiti?
Well, the county did.
County does.
County did.
Well, whoever they hire, I mean, they take care of it. I was just thinking.
So, do you think we need to? No. Probably not, but should we provide to?
Where are we trying to put the other one? In front of the
Where you
garage door?
Right in front of the garage door.
So
So you
we're,
don't wanna park inside.
where
you don't
park
wanna
it?
park right. So why-
when we had the,
Well, we can
Legal-
make them 40 for you too.
wait, no, when we had the League of Minnesota Cities Loss Prevention people here, they just said basically that that sign had to be up and that was enough. If you want to, we should get to.
You don't have to have it painted on the ground. I mean.
He didn't say anything about it not being painted on the ground because the sign was there.
There's no requirement.
Pardon?
There's no requirement that you paint the sign
Oh, yeah.
on the ground. It's just sometimes when that's when I need to be clean.
Helps designate where it's at, I guess.
Especially for the wheelchair vans. When they put them big areas out now.
That's the big thing that, oh,
So we need 1, need 2.
I'm nothing wrong with it. Two, I don't think either.
I feel like 1 is sufficient.
I got a sticker in my window.
Well,
then, Ronnie,
I
you
got one
need
too.
one more.
My wife has one.
Yeah, see,
So we all are old.
Yeah.
Okay, somebody'd like to make a motion to have 2, keep it at 1. Put it that way.
Shoot, I'll make a motion to get to.
Somebody to second the motion?
Can handicap that, is
After tonight, I don't know. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed?
I don't think we need to.
Is that a nay?
That's a name.
Sarah?
I'm okay with it. I don't think we need it, but
4 yeses and 1 nay. Motion is carried. Anything else under new business? If not, we move on to miscellaneous. 344 Main Street, Waterbury.
So the resident at that property reached out to me. They said they might be here tonight. I don't think they are. And I think they were gonna reach out to Jake too, but just, they felt like the bill that we sent them was high because the water went into the dirt and not down the sewer, so they don't want to pay the sewer portion of it.
There's no floor drain in it?
No, it all went down the sewer.
And I don't know, I wasn't in there. They were supposed to be here, or maybe they're on Zoom. But I just
You
said
were in
it.
there, Jake, right?
Yeah, there's a floor drain in there. That's how we knew it was what we were losing.
Yeah, I mean, we got it. That's how we were doing.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's their bill and we were generous by saying they have,
Yeah, 60
They should have
60,000
insulated
a day.
because by code, they're responsible for all of it.
Is it, was the line insulated at all?
No,
No, it hangs in the middle of air, right?
it's right off the foundation wall. It's all limestone foundation. So then the meter itself, that's the rolls on the bottom of the meter and they're shooting out. And the meter itself is a foot and a half away from the limestone wall. That was when we were getting into that cold snap, because it was right before these two up here. Yeah, right across from the bank.
So I guess we met them halfway, right?
Yeah.
But we've done that before, one other time, I believe. So I guess we treated them fairly and that's where we should stand. And how much was that amount?
Yeah, like 17 or something.
Yeah. 17.
Yep.
That's what I thought.
So just let them know that we're standing by. Okay.
And I mean, there's nobody living there now, though?
Not that I know of.
And can we make it aware that if they try to sell the property, that water bill will follow them? Can we make them aware of that?
They can tell them.
Or how do we?
We put that on the taxes then?
Yeah, you can just do the taxes.
So if we ever see that house go up for sale,
No, you
issue that to the county right away?
what you should be doing is on the unpaid water bills, accessing the municipal properties and some done. And in a year, you would have one going against it. You would not have time to get things put in place to get assessed against the property, lumber the property put up for sale before it's closed. But you can assess on a annual basis.
It's not really past due yet, right?
No,
How many do we have past due?
well, bills were due on the 25th. So then we'll have, I think there's 4 for sure that are gonna be getting letters.
I mean, have they been over 90? Yeah, obviously over 90 days.
I don't think so. Like a quarter and then like a quarter and then this quarter. You know, like, so one past quarter and then this current one. So they're due on the 25th. So then if they're not paid, then they will be getting a letter because they're 1 quarter overdue. They've gotten past due notices before.
All right. Okay, anybody else on the miscellaneous?
We were talking about LBC, remind me, okay? So is that gonna be June 11th, right?
Yes.
And that's gonna be dumpsters down. How is that gonna happen this year?
It's gonna go down to the ballpark, right?
Correct.
Okay, just making sure. Someone asked me and I didn't wanna give them wrong information.
Yeah.
Did they say the trucks this year from like 90 or the dumpster? And then they left them all loose last time.
I don't know the answer. And that was not my.
So Friday night, they'll bring down a dumpster for electronics and stuff. But Saturday they will have trucks. And as far as I know, they're not leaving them over the weekends.
One thing about that there, you know, people come down and they throw iron in there and bicycles and all that. We pay for all that. When it's curbside, a lot of that disappears. We
Yeah.
don't have to pay for that.
Why'd that change?
You know, there's a lot of it going in place. So I mean,
You just don't wanna do it that way?
next year, you don't want to do it curbside no more, Tom? They don't. Well,
Do you-
have to have a specific spot. And they're there X amount of hours.
It's very
and that's-
expensive I don't know anything you've said, but LJP and other communities, it's very expensive for them to do it. Going to the communities and picking stuff up, if it's some more liability issues with their own employees and injuries. So yeah, they will do that. North Mankato has it in place, just because it's been there. And they got a big enough hammer with their contract that they can do that in place. And I feel like probably used to last contracts, and they couldn't convince anybody to buy on it.
I suppose we can't have a designated area if somebody brought bicycles that they don't put them in the dumpster. Sure.
I was gonna say, they did that.
It would save a lot of money.
That's why in our bring a dumpster instead of being our dumpster there, and we don't care who gets the fund.
Yeah, but they throw the junk in the main dumpster.
Well, but I think.
The trash.
Right, I think LJP would require you to put it in the dumpster or it got picked up by them. I don't think they'll put it in the dumpster.
Correct. Maybe a scrapper.
Cars
all
are-
up though.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, it is,
You probably have more influence. Honestly.
they could probably put their metal
That's
stuff
all that's
out
told me.
the week before, it wouldn't last long.
Well, and I was gonna ask that, so it used to be when it was curbside, people had the week before to put stuff out. Are we still gonna let people put stuff out on the curb a week before, and then when it comes to that day, they're gonna need to haul it down there?
They'll never pick it up.
Okay.
It'll stay there and then the city guy would have to pick it up.
It's really kind of a conundrum. One of the other things is in kind of explaining why is that it flies in the face, this curbside pickup sort of flies in the face of the state's mandate for reducing waste. That's the idea of Kirby's, little Kirby's. You only have that much. Do what you can to get your garbage in there. That's sort of the state's push. And so this whole curbside pickup is kind of flies in the face of that. Realize though, that communities rely on it to help clean up, you know. Maybe we'll have to do something else.
In the past, we've had buildings taken down and dragged up to the curb, or this makes that a little more difficult,
Yeah.
you know?
And there's a number of reasons like that. You know, there's nothing to say that we could do our own, do an additional 1 to 2 a year. something like that. And I would think that if somebody were to call me and weren't able to get their material down there, I would call it Mike to come down there and go, it wasn't too
I'll call
nasty.
you.
You that do pickup. See, I would give you a picture like, you're not it. But you know what I mean? I mean, if it was really a hardship for somebody to get it down there, but we've all experienced this before. We've had cleanups for as long as I've been on council, whatever that's been, 20 years, 30 years. The same ones don't haul their stuff down there anyway, or they don't put it on the curb anyway, even when it was curbside. So
They got, you know.
And that time we left
haven't
it up by
yet.
City Shop, we just left dumpsters there.
Oh my.
We had, what, 2 dumpsters laying on the ground. And it came in from the farm. How do we stop that though, Tom?
This fella here or somebody.
Who may be that be? We don't have any.
Originally, he was going to do it for sure, but, you know,
What will we do at that point if we don't have anybody?
not hard down
Not it.
there. I don't know, must cross that bridge.
All
We
right.
need somebody there though.
Yeah, we
I
do.
mean, somebody that has to kind of know,
Who they are.
kind of who people are. Who the country people are.
I can volunteer for that. It's on Saturday.
Well, we can volunteer.
Why not? Citizen.
All right, anything else on this line? If not, somebody make a motion to adjourn.
Oh, can I bring up something real quick? In your packets, I sent out the, small city revolving loan to the business owner in town. Do you guys want to do anything with that?
What can you do with it? $9,600 over. Now, it's still open. Not
20
making any payments.
20 payments behind.
Yeah, 20 payments, $9,600.
Where's the county at?
County,
Asking for the money.
the county, said they don't have an agreement with the business. They have an agreement with the city.
I know, but
So-
that's what's true.
No, they haven't asked us for anything. And when we talked to him, he said, most businesses are closed when they're not making payments. So hasn't seen anything like this. And when we went down there, he didn't seem too concerned when you and I went down and talked to the county.
But my advice to the council is once you see they go from. But my fear is that you take action ahead of time, that we may be on the hook for not getting, for not, for the full amount, not just the amount that we pay back to the county.
Because our original share was like 22.5, I think, something like that.
Yeah, I think it's, I thought it was 50% whatever money that they.
Yeah, it was like 45,000, I believe, or something.
So that's what we'd be looking at for our cost and kind of go from there. And one of the reasons for that is there's a chance that the county just writes it off and we don't have a loss.
When you look at Blue Earth County, it probably doesn't have $1 to all the residents. In this town, it will add about $100 per water meter or household. No, it's not going on your water bill. But that's just one way you can explain it. It will cost each resident about $100 to pay off that.
Well, the biggest difference kind of goes along that line is when the county put this money up there, they never expected to get any of these funds back. Not budgeted, they not expected to get the money back. And I think the city here always had an expectation that, that this was gonna be a viable business that was gonna go forward. And, we've had that discussion with the county, we expected 50% of the businesses to reach the development. That, they would not succeed, and, they couldn't receive funding from other sources, so they couldn't. Your 50% success rate was
It's happened to me before.
it's the nature of these types of processes, EDA suffer huge losses.
Right,
all the
I mean,
time.
it's just.
Yeah. Well, that's what, you guess we whatever you want, but that's not our condition, to wait till the county asks us for the money, then we take action.
What action can you do if they're not making any payments?
Well, we could sue them, I get a judgment, and this question, and collect on the judgment. Because the whole building is gonna be secured to the parties. The one thing you have to learn for you in this particular case is the guarantee. With an individual that might have some concerns, about, and then, may have some assets that we're actually up against. But the people operating the business, I don't Those are comment for us to get that point for they'll take other action, or they'll just get up for whatever, next judgment against them and not be able to do anything.
All right, well,
So I guess they can recall.
we've been here before. We'll be
Here now, too.
Yep.
I just really hope we win.
I know.
Okay, one last thing for clarification, just because we have Kennedy here. The small city development grants, the past ones, the situation we dealt with at the last meeting. Are we advising that resident to reapply then? Or are we honoring the
First, we have to
5,000?
have an administrator, right?
I think they're looking for recommendation from the administrator
Okay.
as to what they would suggest.
Okay, because you sent 2 recommendations, so I was just trying to figure it out.
But
Okay,
I don't think we can individually send it to the ones that are on the board, right? We just have to open it up to everybody.
Well, you can either open it up to everybody, or there's applications that were in line already. You can take those up there. You know, but that's somewhat problematic as well.
So if the COG, just say for instance, they take it over, they will administrating the application, they will do the screening, and they'll do everything, and then will they bring us to certify or?
I guess we'll come to you first, ask for what your policy you want to have for it, but what we're looking for from them is a recommendation as to how we're going to administer these additional funds. Yeah, and what I talked about before is look at the applicants who already made applications and just kind of catch up on those. You can, or we could, we could let them apply for the funds in the same manner that they applied before, or we could restrict it to only new applicants.
Because we gotta make sure this time it is done right. And some people claim there wasn't only 2 sheets on a 4-sheet, so if they're doing it,
Their problem.
their problem. So, all right. With that, anything else?
Yeah, I got one thing. Are those fuel tanks still being advertised?
I think they're pulled from the city website. I think like turned off, you'll get them back on there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
price,
someplace.
price, do we need to lower the price? I mean, Jake said his dad got a brand new one for less money than we're asking. Should we put
I don't even know what we're asking anymore.
It was starting
over
at,
1,500, wasn't it?
starting at 1,000, I believe. 1,000 each, I believe.
I can't believe that high fuel prices, somebody didn't buy them to buy more.
Or get rid of- I mean, if it's on our website, a lot of farmers probably don't see it,
Put it in the messenger again.
or is it some other?
Put it in
on
the,
computer you put it in?
do you like the post office, the messenger?
I'd put it in the messenger.
I don't know if there's like a farm
You
bid
get- with the
site.
pictures and stuff, it's 500 gallon.
Can I put it on Craigslist? Craigslist? Can I,
Craigslist,
yeah,
that'd
can
be
it,
an
can it go,
excellent
that's what I was saying. Can it go on there?
That'd be an excellent place.
It's 500 gallon tanks with pumps.
With pumps? Okay.
Gosh, yeah, you know, with the pumps for sure.
Absolutely.
Or somebody might.
Starting bid, 500, 750, 1,000?
What did you say?
It's $1,000 for the tank, for a new tank.
Did he have the pump with it too?
Yep.
Craigslist would be a good place. Okay, with that, let me make a motion to adjourn.
I'd say that.
All right, someone second? Someone second?
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye, opposed?
Sarah, you second.
I did.
Thanks, everybody.
I'm always doing things.
That's all right.
Yep, we let him do it every time. Makes him happy.
I'll come in tomorrow. I got the original right here.
All right.
And my insurance is on file.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, but you bring in burritos and that?
We're gonna have one.
Well, I'm sure.
Yeah.